Okay, so don't worry, it will be fixed. I sometimes do the music to theme about what's coming up, or lull them in a false sense of security. Either way, it works perfectly fine. So
you can't tell when things start exploding.
We are up to session number 121 since this group started, which is Phase 3, Season 2, Episode 7. So there's 7 episodes into this game yet. So they've been level 12 for that long. Most of them last about 20 odd sessions between levels, which is most of a year. Okay, so the music that we've got in the background is from Sirenscape, which means that if I advertise it and say what it is, I bypass all those copy restriction problems because that's part of what the tool does.
They do good music.
Yeah.
They do good music.
And we know them.
Yeah, they're actually based out of Queensland.
Yeah.
So, we're up to the game date of, it's the 15th of the 4th month, 1011. 2 years into the War of the Master, and it is the night of the major full moon of Matter, which is the moon of life. It will be on this day that most people gain their adult name or coming of age ceremonies for a lot of them. A lot of birthdays are done on this day simply because it's a celebration of life.
Yeah. And if anyone needs that, I do have the ceremony spell.
Yeah.
So.
And it's major boosts to the characters who believe in nature and follow nature gods because it's a holy day for that. I will have Jeremy introduce his character first.
Good evening all. Yes, I'm playing Rockhome, the Atruaghin tribesman who grew up and initially was a simple lawman, like sheriff of the Atruaghin tribe. If you think about American Indian culture. But he had apparently developed from that time that like having been touched by the god of Atruaghin himself and had been selected to be the shaman of the clan. So that's what he had to fight a bit more religion in his life. Changed direction slightly in his career. And then also he'd been elected as the clan chief of chief after having been selected by Atruaghin and a dragon god to take on the role of chieftain of the dragon clan, which didn't exist 10 years ago. But in what called the Dragonborn that have been born in the world.
Drazel saw a hole in your species of clans. He wanted more diversity. You've just become the chief of the dragon clan.
Well, he's made it someone else's problem, which he's very good at.
Yeah.
As an NPC, he rarely interacts. When he does talk, he talks in riddles. And he has magic, which he uses sparingly.
Very. He's a cleric and he doesn't heal even.
Well, he's not there
Yeah.
to save you. He's there to guide you.
Yes.
Next up, we.
Yeah, so that'll cover.
So, you ready to
I
go?
have camera.
So next up is Ariadna.
No, it's not Ariadna. It's Calcrix, the white dragon with the jazz wings. She looks very similar to how this looks, just by pure coincidence, not necessarily. She used to be and is again now in the Friday game, and one of the players in that bought this because it started to look like my character looks. So she is the white dragon. Ignore all those black accents that you see on her. They're not there. They got nothing to do with the Queen of Darkness.
I'm sure they're just little bits of dirt on the scales.
Yeah, that's it's colour to make herself look more decorated, as a dragon should.
Isn't there definitely not some blue scales?
I was just going to say, and if you happen to see some blue scales in amongst those black scales, they have nothing whatsoever to do with the dead god or old god Bahamut.
They're accents.
Absolutely nothing to do with bringing him back. A fight with Takesis, who is the dragon most people know as having the 5 heads. She's in no danger of becoming Takesis' avatar because she's got 3 colours already out of 5. She's not worried about that at all. She just recommends that you follow her good friend, who is her companion, Eep's recommendation, have another cookie. So Calcrix has a companion with her. It's a little plant-like creature, tiny size, except it looks black and grey. Still very adorable. Offers cookies to anyone who will like them. They'll do you no harm. She just happens to be Fey Dark. Was a gift from the Queen of Darkness after she made friends with the Queen of Darkness's avatar, Ermin. And I think it was 2 or 3 sessions ago she pulled a demon from its plane of existence and ate it because Calcrix said he gave a dirty look at my friend Lani there, kill him. And then Calcrix is like, tell no one. So that'll be about all for Calcrix.
Has been very careful what she's asked the creature to do, because every time you ask a fey creature, there's generally a cost to pay.
Oh, she's well aware it's going to cost her, but she's half covered in black scales. She knows she's in debt to the Queen of Darkness at the moment. She doesn't know quite how much, but she figures at least maybe her soul.
Next up is Paul,
who is the tall, pretty diplomat, warlock, healer. Part-time shadow elf, although non-shadow elves don't know about it. And I've got several titles which I'm not allowed to tell anybody, including I'm not allowed to tell people what my sword is.
You're not allowed to say that you're the Prince of the Shadow Elves.
I'm a Prince of the Shadow Elves and I'm carrying the Shadow Elf Moon Sword.
Oh, that one might
And people don't know about, well actually people do know about them because the Shadow Elves just attacked Alpine.
That happened.
they were mythological until 2 to 3 game years ago.
Yeah. And now people know about them, and I still can't tell them who I am or what I'm carrying
You still believe
because
that
they
he is a
lynch
fire.
me. Yes.
That's okay. You are getting a following.
Yes. Fine.
Next
Bits
up,
and pieces here and there, but yeah, it's fine. I'm getting a following.
and he's also become a junior diplomat. So he's been doing the training to talk people into common sense. Unfortunately, he's not as common as he would like.
I don't get the chance to talk to as many people as I really want to.
But you are getting the
Because they're usually
authority.
but usually the people I want to talk to are somewhere else. That's right. When I do get to talk to people, it's very useful.
Okay, next one up is Kesley.
Alright, I play Kupa Lani Alakai. She goes by Lani, just for ease. She is a Makai human fighter, so think like Polynesian mix of Moana and Maui kind of thing.
Yeah.
She-
Moana but with muscles.
Yeah. So she has a cool trident with her that returns whenever she throws it. She has a couple other cool weapons that she uses. She is a weapons master. Was a former sailor. Picked up a lot of skills along the way. Make a joke. Here for a good time, not for a long time, and then that hit her in the butt from what she learned.
Yeah.
Has a lot of titles. So some self-imposed.
No one's arguing.
Oh, I was gonna say, would they all?
Lonnie did reach captain status.
I've given her a
within
couple.
the Irindi
Yeah.
army. And then commander of the Derek army, and then she is weapon master. Lonnie the Undying, Lonnie the Bane of Fire Giants, the Provisioner of Pixies, Lonnie the Clan Bearer of Clan Will.
Don't forget the North Knights.
Yeah.
daughter.
The
Oh yeah. That.
Lonnie the Undefeated, the cover wielder and friend of the legendary Koa, and the Bane of Nightshades, or Nightwalker Bane. Which, now that we're fighting against Steam, she's kind of regretting that one, but it's fine. Future,
Aren't those skills going to be useful?
future Empress of the Sea,
Actually.
future King of Arempi, the Great Mother, Speaker of the First and Last Word. So, quite a few different titles, and not all of them. So, she originally came along with our NPC Drazzle, who is the grandma that's with us as like his companion and meant to be an adventurer and help along with whatever he needed. And then she ended up in all of this, and she's one where she doesn't back down from a challenge, and so she's gotten here so far. So she also has been. She's not a magic user, but she's now learning how time works. She can go back in time through turning her trident into a scythe, and she can affect the future. So she's learning why Drazzle talks in riddle, because what she says becomes prophecy.
Yes, and she has to make it happen or it comes back to bite her specifically.
Yes.
So if you say, oh, you're going to die tomorrow, then the person who tells you that, if they've got that prophecy curse, have to actually kill you before the end of the next day, or they risk being removed from the world themselves.
Or at least arrange for you to die. They don't have to actually kill yourself.
Well, if nothing else can do it, they have to do it themselves.
Yes.
But they have to make sure that it's done. It's their responsibility once they utter the words.
Yes.
So that's why the NPC in the group barely talks to people. And he always says the least amount as possible. And he's been there from session 1.
Calcrix has learnt to talk in a language that Drazzle absolutely is very comfortable talking in. Hugs, cookies, and coffee.
Yep. Yes.
Okay.
It doesn't communicate a lot, but what it does communicate is really good.
So new today, creating his character is Reese.
Hello.
Hello everyone. I have a wood elf called Teth Fethley. He's a paladin, an Oath of Ancients paladin. I don't have much in terms of backstory, so I don't really know how he was going to fit.
You will most likely have come down here with this high elf druid 2 years ago to investigate what the shadow elves that don't really exist were doing.
So Redrian's original party.
No, this was the group before that.
Oh.
So the elves had a reason to find out what the shadow elves were up to, but they weren't very good at it.
That's good to know. You've got all the backstory and information you know about the local area. Great. You can tell us everything.
Yes. Yeah, you've got all the backstory.
Let's roll for Legend Lore.
Didn't tell anybody.
I'll just make it canon when I speak, right?
Yeah.
Is that how
Yeah.
it works?
Yeah.
That's generally what happens
Yeah.
with backstory. Your backstory doesn't exist until you tell people in game.
Yep.
You can give me hundreds of pages of backstory. I'm not going to use it until you use it in game.
He doesn't read them either.
Otherwise, I would be reading lots of stuff
Yes.
and not have
Yeah.
time to do stuff for people. And new today, we have Mel, who's going to be playing the NPC Peebles. And she gets to create what he looks like and the rest of his personality, besides him saying occasionally, I'm not really here. Because he can actually turn himself invisible. And no one knows how often he can do it because he's never turned himself visible yet.
Right. By not attacking anybody. He keeps it up forever.
Potentially, or he still may be able to attack people. Or she. Hard to tell.
Yeah. Or they've got a ring of invisibility. Haven't told anyone. Just invisible.
I'm sure it's just the one ring, nothing to worry about here.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, they are in an underground city known as Mantol Dereth. It is a place that is where the dwarves of Rockhome and the Shadow Elves with other communities that lived underground would meet on neutral ground.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was overrun by demons.
Rightly.
And this party was sent to find out what happened 2 years ago when it was overrun by demons.
And we didn't get that.
And they were given an advance party to set things up for them for their immediate arrival a year ago.
Is it okay if I do the thing where we've got 5 things to do before the master comes back?
Yep, you can add that now.
Yep, that's an okay spot to put it.
Yep.
So currently, one of the reasons we're down here is of the 5 things we were supposed to do, one of them was to go to our elven allies, which we've just done. And then once we'd spoken to the elven allies, we needed to go to the Shadowlands or Underdark and complete the task that the dwarves gave us a year ago that we've been too busy to do. So that we can go to the dwarves and say we also need allies. Because we figure if we go to them and say we need allies and they go, what about that task we asked you to do? And we go, we forgot. I think that was
They'd be a
to
little mad at that.
go for a long walk. So once we got here, we actually came across a human called Restia, and we found out she was sent here a year ago with a party by our mutual employer to meet us here. And she's the only surviving person of that party, and she went a little bit mad as a result of that. But as some diamond dust and our warlock fixed that. We also have with us, in addition to the normal party members, I'm going to see if I can get the name right. Slatus Vidir.
Yep, that
who
was the high elf.
our kleptomaniac.
No, that's not the
No,
kleptomaniac.
that's not the kleptomaniac. It's
He was the
sorry.
he was the druid who was subsisting off the dead bodies
That's
of
correct.
those that had been killed by demons.
Yes, and so he'd gone a lot more mad, and it took a bit more extra diamond dust. But thank goodness Calcrick's plays in Friday's game, and guess where she stumbled just before that happened? A jeweler's, where she bought a lot of diamond dust.
Much useful.
So then we came across the. Do we have 3 or 4 gnomes with us now?
You technically have about 5.
Okay, one of which will be the NPC, but in addition to that we have, I'm not here gnome.
Which is Peebles.
Peoples. Oh, that's you? Yep,
Yes.
your Peoples. Okay, and then this is probably a good choice because I'm pretty sure the other gnome licks
Licks
things.
things.
And
Flick-
I've solved the problem by giving him a cookie.
Oh,
and telling
we
him
also
to
had
lick
him. He got that part of his mental state fixed,
that.
but we're
did
not
you?
quite sure how he's going to implement the nickname Thunderbog.
Yeah.
I
right.
worry. Yes.
So our task here is to find out why trade between the Shadowlands and the dwarves stopped.
Well, you figured that one out rather quickly.
And it seems to be basically
We're
that
gonna get anyway.
a woman who was in charge of it all,
Syrah.
a shadow elf, yes, Syrah. We've gone over this already, and I'm re-going over
No,
it.
I'm just
No,
throwing
no,
up a
no.
name.
Oh, okay, cool. She was she was in charge of everything, but she got a bit too power hungry, and she seems to have brought a bunch of demons in, or allowed them in, and that's pretty much killed everybody, or destroyed everything. So we're now continuing on our investigations for that.
Though they also spoke to one of the gnomes,
Yep.
who had actually said that because the gods are quarrelling on the surface, they're a little distracted right now, and they're not paying attention to their actual jobs. And because they're not paying attention to their jobs, some of the demonic gods have taken advantage and have used that distraction to cause problems. And that the distance between the world and the realm of demons is pretty much non-existent down here. So demons can come and go as they please.
Yes, we fought some. And more fighting. And I have to contact Raphael and tell him off, saying, why aren't you checking on what Axatiatl and his friends are doing, because they're going to be screwing shit up.
Whereas he could do that and then not do the task that he's been appointed, and the world will end.
Well, yeah, there is that. But he can organise somebody else to do something about it.
No other god will serve him because he's one of the non-sponsored gods.
Will have to be nice and talk to one of the other ones.
There's a lot of politics involved in the gods. They are very petty.
Yes, which means using a spell that has the potential of psychic damage.
Or he talks to the gods that are causing the problems and saying, behave.
I'm not sure that would actually get any that much.
I'm sure you could have a conversation with Orcus about empowering your life.
Yeah, but it's Orcus.
Please,
He's
let's
just-
not bring Orcus into this.
No, Orcus is several amounts of bad.
Well, he's only one of the ones wandering around.
That doesn't make it good.
He's not the most powerful either. So, to put into perspective, that is a picture of a god called Demogorgon, used in multiple fantasy things as well. So he's one of the gods also floating around down here, causing mischief. And they believe one of them escaped out into Alfheim, causing mischief there.
Yes, and we're way too low level to do anything about it.
Well, you are doing something. You've identified that it's happened.
That's true.
No one else has known because everyone else who knew about it died.
There
I
is
was too mad to go back up to the surface.
that. Yes,
Well, they were compromised in some way.
yes.
So-
we've got to tell the right people.
You believe your next task is to get back to the surface.
Right.
Because if you don't make it back to the surface, there's a good chance that it doesn't matter what you do after that point.
Yeah.
If you can convince the dwarves to stop warring with the giants, then they can also help limit what the demons are doing down here.
Yes. I'm not sure it's going to be worthwhile talking to giants, but definitely talking to dwarves.
Well, the giants didn't initiate the combat.
There is that too.
Their mere presence incited the dwarves.
Yes. But I do speak both languages.
You do.
Plus I can be understood by anybody.
So the dwarf here is Golder Flagonfist. He does know the way back to the surface.
Cool.
You say his name again?
Golder Flagonfist.
So
Ghuldur.
G-H-U-L-D-U-R.
Is that a way back to the surface into Rockhome?
It does lead back to Rockhome, yes. It's the main thoroughfare is from the Shadow Elves to Rockhome, and this is the in-between staging area that everyone else also uses.
Right.
You
Yeah.
can connect here to the Kingdom of Thar, who is a warlord looking to expand his territory because he accepts all outcast races.
Yes.
So he has orcs, trolls, goblins,
Leftover shadow ones.
Well, they're not shadow elves to them. They don't look like it.
So Goldar's last name was
Flag and Fist.
Flag and Fist.
I'm sure he doesn't have a drinking problem.
A really
Yeah,
good
no
name.
problem.
But the problem is that
one
he
mug in
doesn't
each
have
hand.
anything to drink.
So he can lead us back.
Maybe he can fit a whole flagon in his fist and not worry about cups.
You know, flagons, if constructed properly, can make very good weapons.
Oh yeah. Yes, iron flagons. That'll make a mess of you.
Okay, so yes, he's happy to lead you back to the surface. Kinel has pledged her protection of Luel, whether he agreed to it or not. In his interest, whether he agrees to it or not.
Yes. Well.
Oh, now I'll put the pair of blades on the back with my shadow land armor. That's funny.
So she's appointed herself his royal guardsman.
You now have a Kingsguard.
And the Kingsguard only answers to the king, not to the person they're guarding. Go, Jeremy.
If we've got the opportunity of having managed to rescue the head trade woman that worked her culprits and things like that, and we've managed to gather together a few of these different factions down here, has there been any explanation or just understanding as to why the demons seem to always take dwarven form, or at least attempt to take dwarven form, or is that
Okay, so you do get an explanation that the demons will take on whatever terrifies the subject the most.
okay, right.
Right.
And
So the fact they were chasing gnomes when we first saw them.
means those gnomes were terrified of dwarves.
Right.
Yeah,
And
okay.
Teeth is introduced to the party after Slatus unpolymorphs him from a fluffy rabbit. Yeah, and he spent the last 2 years as a fluffy rabbit
How
in
do
someone's
you spell
pocket.
your name?
T-E-T-H. Teth.
Teeth Death. I'll mispronounce things all the time. I'm terrible at that.
It's a made-up name, so...
No, that's
go
fine.
nuts.
Teth is good. I just want to make sure I got it spelled right.
And so you've been a paladin stuck in rabbit form.
Cool. Can I cast spells in rabbit form? Or...
Not particularly,
Cool.
because you struggle to actually get things out.
Yeah.
Especially stuck in a pocket dimension for familiars.
Cool.
Right.
But you've been transformed back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now that you've given him his sanity back, he could fix what he did to the paladin of the party. Which might have been
Oh,
handy if you
so
had
that
have
was
still
what
been around during the
Slatus did.
demon attack.
Yeah.
But it does suit someone who went slightly insane.
Yeah.
It was just protecting you.
So Luel will recognize the standings of someone who came from Alfheim and represents the Elven pantheon, not specifically a single god.
Yeah.
Because, well, the elves don't always believe in following the rules of one,
Yeah.
because they can get into a lot of trouble.
Yes. Plus, a lot of them are very much into, I'm going to do my thing. So following all the gods at once is the way to go.
So, in terms of where we are at the moment, are we still at the
Yes.
warehouse coffee place?
You're still at the warehouse coffee place.
Yep.
You're at in the
So-
town of Mantle Dereth, which is on a stalagmite hanging from a ceiling of a large cavern of water.
To fill in new players, Calcrix owns a coffee franchise, because of course. And this was the franchise in the Shadowlands where they've come to help. Everyone's come to gather here as a place of safety from the demons, I gather.
What was that? This is.
This is the place where everyone gathered to.
Well, it was the least profane area.
Profane. So we're heading off.
We are going to
We're going to
log off,
follow
yes.
order.
We know how
Back
to
to
get
the
out.
sunshine.
Back to the sunshine with people who've been down here for...
I can't afford
we
to
just
owe
going
eat
to
anything
underground
else,
to
so
Rockhome? Back to the sunshine of underground. Okay.
Yeah, no, that works.
Well,
We're going
But
right-
it's not the Shadowlands.
Yeah, considering the borders for the outside nation have been closed,
Yeah.
without coming through this way, you wouldn't actually be able to get to the king. Though you do have a pass that gives you a one-time pass through their border,
Yeah.
True.
which you were going to use until the GM pointed out you hadn't done the task that you had been given the pass for.
Yes. But now
I could have waited until they'd used it and spoken to the king, but
That would have been bad.
that would have been rude.
Yes. Because there's things the characters remember that we don't.
And as a GM, I try to remind people of that, but if they want to ignore that, that's up to them.
Yes.
So we going to be doing transition from here to Rockhome in real time, or are we going to start from Rockhome?
You're going to be leaving here through a demon-infested tunnel,
Yep.
and having to deal with the
That's fine.
fact that the demons don't want you to
I've
go.
got my dice jail for combat. We're all good.
Yes. We are.
They have identified the demon lords that they believe are down here. They call one of
We
them
want this page.
Bahamut.
Who?
Bahamut. B-A-P-H-O-M-E-T.
B-A-P-H.
Oh. Okay.
O-M-E-T.
So that's it, as opposed to the
Definite.
Bahamut.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah, close enough. Like I said, pronunciation is not my
Alcrix
thing.
breaks the fourth wall, gently grabs the GM by both cheeks and goes, Baphomet.
Yeah.
Bahamut is a dragon.
Yeah, I haven't had enough stimulation to actually.
Please,
get these
please don't
drinks.
confuse my father, Bahamut, with the demon Baphomet.
Right. So this is where we feed the GM an entire bottle of
And
Gorilla.
she'll happily give you coffee and cookie in payment, and return
Well, but
back to her
but
storyline.
potentially, the people down here, they might have gotten a little confused.
A bit.
The next one is called Demogorgon.
Yeah. From our point of view, there's a god level demons. Not to be messed with.
Next one is Fraz Erblu. Don't ask me to pronounce that one
Can you
correctly.
spell it, though?
F-R-A-Z dash U-R-B apostrophe L-U-U.
Yes.
Fazerbaloo. Fazerbaloo?
I'm not even
That's going to be fun.
Yes. Tasha
We're gonna
as
call him
in
Fazzy.
yes, Tasha as in Tasha's
I like
children of everything's boyfriend and occasional enemy.
Fuzzy.
Well, hey, gods be crazy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Next one up is Grazet. G-R-A-Z apostrophe Z-T. Also known as the Dark Prince.
Which, given who he hangs around with, is saying something.
Who does he hang around with?
Demon lords.
Oh, right.
Well, he is a demon lord in his own right.
Well, yeah.
Jubilex
amongst
is
demon lords, he's the scary one.
Jubilex is the next one, and it is pretty much the demon lord of slime.
Let's not go there.
Yeah.
And mentioned earlier was Orcus, demon prince of undeath.
Yes. So my game, they're going to face him at some point in the very near future. They're trying to stop one of his plans.
Prince of Undeath.
Yep. He wants to make everything undead.
And then Yeenoghu, Y-E-E-N-O-G-H-U, the beast of butchery.
God of moles.
I wish I had your memory, Paul.
Well, he runs a lot as well, so it does help.
Yeah.
And these ones all come from settings I'm sure Paul's run a few
They're
times.
all standard D&D
Yeah.
demons. All of them.
You're looking at someone who's read a lot and remembers
Not a standard in
And certainly the
Mystara.
indication that if all these guys are down here at the moment, you could say it was hell on earth, except the fact they're not hell. They're all idiots.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the last one that you hear that's down here is Zugtmoy. CUGGTMOY, the Demon Queen of Fungi. TMOY.
CUGGTMOY. The
Starts with a Z.
Queen of Z.
Yes.
Z. Okay. Okay. Queen of Fungi.
Yep.
Yeah. And all of them are really unpleasant.
Also known as Lady of Rotten Decay. And rumoured to have come from another planet.
That's right.
Not all the gods originated on this world. Most of the gods were mortal and became gods through some form of quest.
Yes. And it's something that's available on the planet for PCs. It's just, it takes so long. DD5 caps out at level 20. To do the God Quest stuff, you level from 20 to 36.
Let's hope we don't have to do that right now.
Yeah.
And let's hope to find a way to avoid all 8 of these demons.
Yes, the fact that they're down here means we don't want to be.
And on the bright side, it means they're currently not assaulting the home tree for the elves.
That's right.
That's true.
And all the shadow elves are up on the surface, which means they're not eating any of the shadow elves at the moment.
But the shadow elves do have protections that none of the other people down here have.
There is that.
Okay, so you are joined by all the denizens of this place because no one wants to stay here now that the demons know you're here.
Yes, because anyone
The
who
demons
stays...
know we're here?
Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
fought some off.
I'm joking.
Yes. So, yeah, anyone who stays behind is meat and they know it.
Well, they do also feed off insanity. So the more insane you get, the longer you'll live, but the more unpleasant your life will be, which is
Look,
perfectly fine under their scheme of things.
I bought more diamond dust, but not enough for that.
Not
So
enough for
Yes.
everyone.
we need to go.
Yes.
So you have a troop in the end of 30, with the party being on top of that troop.
Our crooks will take up the rear and make sure there's no strays left behind.
And Drazzle is travelling with you, who is the NPC Dragonborn.
Drazzle's rejoined us.
He never left.
He's not with the Friday group.
Oh, it's just the Friday group. He's not
Yep.
with us.
Yeah.
Certain things he won't mess around with.
Apologies
Yeah.
for my confusion.
All good. It was my reminding you he's with this group and not Fridays.
So, me persuading them to stay together and be at least moderately organised, and Drazzle making sure that no one gets left behind,
And
we should be fine.
Making
I'll
sure
be at the
the
back.
way Thunder
Drazzle,
Rock isn't
making
licking
sure
any
no one gets left
mushrooms.
behind.
Yeah.
How big are the corridors, etc., or passages that we've got to travel through?
They will be small enough that Calcrix will have to shrink her size to be able to travel with you.
Which means
Oh, it'll be spread out in a very long line.
I'll be ducking a bit.
How often can I go up and down per day? Was it 2?
It's about 3 times a day.
Okay.
But the dwarf does warn you that if you wish to save it until you need it, you probably don't want to change unless you're required.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to.
it'll-
So what size do I have to go down to?
Medium.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
Okay.
It would be the number, your proficiency bonus is the number you could do, I'm presuming.
I'm not entirely enthusiastic about being
'Cause that's-
medium sized, but
I
Yeah.
think dragons have limits because it's an innate.
because I want to save, I'll stay the one size until there's combat. Will I have to use an action to change size?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why it's a painful thing.
Yeah.
So normally the dragon is towering above people.
Another question, because it's going to come to it. Because it might come to it. If it does come to combat and I decide that I want to go up 2 sizes, is that still 1 action or is that 2 actions?
It would be 1 action to return to your normal size and 1 to cast the spell.
Okay, yep, so 2.
Yep.
I was hoping you'd.
Well,
like, say
technically
1.
you could do the 1 if you use a higher spell slot to do it.
Okay.
That will go 2 sizes, but if you did it when you're at the larger size, you could technically go up 3 sizes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it might be worth spending the 2 actions.
Mm.
Yes, at
Bigger
which point
counters,
you'd be the
more
size of
damage.
a real dragon.
Also, I'll be
Being a real dragon.
equal size to the dragon, to the demon princes. So enough for the demon princes to stop and go. Ooh.
She's giving him
No,
a very offended look right now. There are no cookies for you.
The player did.
Okay, so I believe you have your leader of the group being the general of the Darrakan army.
Yes, Jack Dimmer will certainly be in the lead. Not that most people will necessarily see him in most circumstances.
Yes, but when it comes to warfare style
also,
things, sorry, when it comes to warfare style things, we'll defer to you.
but yeah, so obviously he's going to be keeping aware of our young dwarven guide as to which way we're going. So if it turns out this is a long, lot of twisty passages and lots of different pathways, then potentially they'll be up near Draknimmer. But otherwise, if it comes down to the idea of, oh, yeah, well, we've normally got a single passage, follow this for whoever,
Yes.
they can be more in the middle of the group then.
Yes, as long as we don't meet a group.
Well, he describes it as a series of caverns that you have to navigate to through twisting maze-like passageways.
Yes. That's why I said we don't want to be meeting a group.
And he's sure he remembers how to get back.
I have no doubt. At least not until after the 17th long term.
Right. I don't think I've got a memory spell or a mapping one.
Well, hey, for a dwarf to actually forget is fairly rare. They are very good at remembering underground tunnels. You ask them how to find their way through a human city, they might get lost. It doesn't make sense, it's not structured.
Yeah.
But having said that, Draknimmer is also particularly adept with, well, not necessarily underground passages, but certainly mazes and labyrinths, being an aspect of his priesthood.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a bunch of the gnomes considering whether or not they bring flaming torches, alchemical torches, mechanical torches, and you just hear this whole list of things that they're trying to do.
Calculus built-in torches. I'm not thinking of gratified dragon method at all.
One of the gnomes says, "Oh, that's a great idea. We'll build it into our companion's chest, and he can carry the torch."
Is that possible?
No, it shouldn't be.
Will that kill the companion?
We can find out, they say.
No,
Let's
no,
not do
no.
that.
No one's
We're not doing
no one's
this.
doing experimental surgery. Only people like me get to have natural built-in torches.
It wouldn't be experimental. It would be well practiced.
I just
We've got plenty of volunteers.
just
No.
wanted to be a part of the group and
We want to end with the number of people we started with.
How many did you start with?
I really
You hear someone in the back going, 7.
32.
And then a quiet voice saying, but I'm not here.
yeah.
Yeah, you're 32 and a half. Yeah, you're not here, but you still count.
Okay, so we have a few people who can't see in the dark.
Yes, that's right.
Well,
make
if
light.
Peebles is still riding on me, she doesn't have a problem. She, he, they?
What would you prefer?
She.
She? Peebles is a she then.
Peebles is she.
If you change your mind, Peoples can change at that point because no one's seen Peoples, no one knows.
No one knows what Peoples looks like.
She's not here.
Just make it if they want.
Yeah.
To be fair though, Peoples in here.
Yeah. Randomly switch would be easy. Yeah.
Magic in the setting allows for it.
Yes.
So the question of the gnomes is, what light source is the party going to use?
I have dark
Well,
vision.
Each has their
Right.
drawback.
Yes.
Jack Dimmer's got nil. He was having to go with dark vision.
Right. How many people can't see the dark apart from one?
You get the human, the bard and the wizard from Glantree both put their hands up. And you also see a mage beholder floating along behind you.
What?
Oh, the beholder.
The eye stalk with the missing eye stalks.
Okay.
So, like, what are we thinking? Do we
Put a light spell on the end, on top of my hat.
light spell, or are you just gonna go straight up?
And you
fire
hear
torches?
the demon, the gnomes talking about how the demons can. Certain demons will trace magic. Certain demons will chase fire. Certain demons will chase chemicals.
Oh, fun.
So which demons do you wish to pull towards you, or do you want to pull all three types?
What about dancing lights? Does that?
That's also
Magic.
magic.
That's magic. Okay. Oh, of course it is. There.
And it sucks that I can't. Well, I could. I can't necessarily use my sunblade for a light source because it is a light source, but it's radiant magic,
Yes.
and it kind of doesn't like it down here. It kind of
Yeah.
destroys anything that gets too close.
Partly because the abyss doesn't like radiant magic.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I can't use that. It's not
Yeah. Plus it's a rocking great magic beacon.
Well, not in a place that is enhanced with shadow magic.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like what the heck? So that.
Right. So what we need
What-
is luminescent fungi.
Wasn't there when we met with?
Which the gnomes do refer to as chemical light.
Oh dear.
They basically say you're damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Right. So maybe better off not having any light unless there's a fighter.
Oh, then the shadow demons come. Because you're walking in their realm without light.
Can I?
That's what I said. There's many ways of summoning demons down here.
Yeah.
It's called existing, apparently.
Yes. Not being a demon.
Do we know?
Do the demons normally, can they move through the rock and the earth of the cavern?
Depending on which demon you're bringing towards you. And if a demon lord is behind it.
If we were to use magic light, what kind of demons would that bring?
Last time they were using that, they had a bunch of fire-based demons show up.
And then what if we use fire as a light source?
Well, they also did have a bunch of fire demons show up for that as well, but they were different types of fire demons.
Right.
They were not as scary.
And then what about?
Then we also had a couple of gas-based demons that would turn your fire into a fireball.
And then what about chemical light? What kind of demons?
Well, if you do the chemical lights, then you have a lot of earth-moving demons show up.
See, Caprix is going to shortcut all this with which type brings the least scary demon, but she likes your approach too.
Yeah.
I suspect though that it may well be a choice of something like the alchemical light has the least impact on the eyes of the friends that we're trying to walk around with. Like if you used a light spell, that would be too bright for a lot of people down here.
Yes.
Irrespective of the demons coming through.
Yeah.
So,
The interesting one.
Wasn't before we were up here, weren't there jars full of trapped pixies?
Yep, they're still there.
They're still there? Would we maybe be able to use them as a light source, or are they kind of like
Uh,
stuck in the wall?
They sort of look at each other and go, well, we could do that. As long as you take responsibility for them, we're perfectly fine. We want nothing to do with touching, carrying, or interacting with them since the last time.
What happened last time?
Well, there were a few dead.
Yeah, figure.
Annoyed pixies.
They are dark fae,
They are
Oh,
dark fae.
yeah.
and they do not like being used.
No.
And they really like to consume their users in their sleep,
Yeah.
from the inside out.
Okay.
Normally burrowing through their brain and just keep going further and further into more horrific and horrific things about how you feel the whole thing happening.
Yeah.
Thank you for those details.
Yeah, that's usually bad. Okay, so maybe not the pixies.
But they don't seem to summon the demons. You just carry the problem with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a smaller problem.
Can we, question, particularly to the warlock, Luo,
Yes.
can we use the dark fae pixies and then banish them when we're done back to their own realm?
Given the chance of them getting out, I don't think it'd be safe.
Yes.
You
Too
would
much risk
you
of
would
them
know the
escaping?
fact of use means dead.
Pardon?
Use means dead. You
Yeah.
have to make an agreement with them, or they choose the way that they resolve the debt,
Yeah.
whether you banish
Oh,
them or
dead,
not.
Yes.
not dead. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
So, yeah, if you don't make a deal with them, they take their side of things as,
Calcrix looks
I
up
get
to
out of
Eep
this now.
and goes, is it possible to make a fair deal? It's not going to hurt Calcrix with the pixies for them to light the way. I'm talking to Eep.
Ape just grins. He rarely grins.
I'm worried now.
No help from Eep?
You
Is it
think,
not-
Ape gave you an answer. He rarely grins.
Is it not likely that a group of people or beings this large is likely to attract attention anyway, irrespective of what light sources you use?
On
That's
her
true.
understanding of the dark.
So,
Is it possible for her
If we go with the simplest form that has the least impact on people within the group, then we'll deal with whatever the attract is individually.
Yeah.
Well, you do think that if you, from Calcrix's perspective, if you offer them freedom for lighting the way, you may actually get their assistance.
And what is the consequence of freeing them?
They're dark fae that are loose.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
see, you got to remember this is coming from Calcrix's point of view.
Yeah.
Dark fae aren't bad
Yeah.
to her.
And dark fae live underground mainly, so
Yeah.
this is their environment. They've
Yeah.
just been trapped and used for a different usage.
And
So they stay down
she's objected to their imprisonment already at the start.
Yeah, no, that's
So
fair.
she
So
has
Yeah.
a desire to free them.
Yeah.
So
Which is
I'm,
why Ape was happy to smile.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell the gnomes, and depending on whether or not the whole party tries to jump on the currently large-sized dragon, no, middle-sized still, and stop it from
Yeah.
doing it, she will say, I will
If-
talk to the pixies.
Yeah, if you wish to do that, go for
Okay. So?
I will talk to the
Yes.
pixies.
it. Even though the dark fae, freeing them is good. If they wish to stay down here, fine.
Do you have one that wishes to? Are you giving me advice on what to say, or
Oh,
what you should-
why you give her advice?
Sorry?
I'll duck to the bathroom.
If you ask.
sorry, I wasn't sure. If you're giving me advice, I'm happy to have advice. But
Yeah.
I was gonna do the deal without anyone else interacting with them.
Yeah, alright. I can give you wording, particularly careful wording.
Her careful wording
Yeah.
was going to be along the lines of, you need to lead us until we get to where we're going safely. You cannot harm anyone in our group.
Yeah.
When you are freed, you need to go back underground for, I'm going to specify at least a period of time long enough for us to get away from them and then not to harm us.
You've got to count to 100 before you
And
start
then I would say
Yeah. I'm
you're,
also
you're offering freedom and potentially cookies.
Yeah,
And-
I will.
yeah.
I will add in all the Calprix isms.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to add a few things, like lead us to where we're going by the quickest safe route.
Okay. Yeah.
Because otherwise they'd lead us around down here for a week.
Yeah. Well, actually, I could just say, if you muck
Yeah.
around, I will give Eep permission to do her thing. But Eep may, I'm fairly sure Eep would still be on my side.
Yeah.
But you never know which way the GM will go.
Well, if you
So
give,
I don't take that for
yeah,
granted.
but if you give Eat the chance to do something horrible to somebody, it'll probably work.
That's a question, just a play question.
Hmm?
Say one Dark Fate decides to do something nasty to Calprix. What's Eep's sort of instinctual response? Is it to protect Calprix, or it's Dark Fate? That's okay.
Nor hers.
Well, it really depends on what they want to do.
Okay.
And how much invested Eep is in Calcrix wanting to keep Eep around.
Calprix wants to keep Eep around. She's just a little bit worried about.
How something so
safety.
small can be so nasty.
No, she understands that. It's okay.
I would think in negotiation also add in that they are not to play any tricks
Yeah.
or mental games, along with I would say no physical, mental, or spiritual harm towards anybody being led
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, I have specific skills for doing this sort of thing, so I can give you good and careful wording.
Because I think, like, what Dragnia pointed out is correct. Because of the people who are with us and have been down here for a long time, it's going to attract continuing activity no matter what.
Yeah.
So this is potentially the safest way to get out, but we still need to
And
be
also
on guard.
possibly one of the faster ways.
Yeah.
And the pixies have power in numbers.
Yeah.
A single pixie, not that threatening, but 20 to 50 pixies?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the main things are safe quickest route, physical, mental, spiritual harm, and no pranks.
Yeah. And I'm going to add any other required wording
Okay.
based on my knowledge and skills.
So Calprix will, Pixie still wear pipe?
There are pixies all over the place in jars.
Okay, she will,
Pick one.
pick a, do we want just one jar of pixies, or are we going to be
There's
using...
a single pixie per jar.
We want
Oh, okay, so
no, you
we
won't get all of
will
it.
gather...
They have
What jars?
recommended not touching the jars unless you've made an agreement with the pixie.
Oh, I
That's
see.
right.
Because touching a jar without getting an agreement will then provide an obligation to the pixie.
So is she going to have to make an agreement with every single jar?
Or make an agreement with the community pixies.
Okay, alright.
Which means transporting around with a stick.
So, Calprix will address the nearest pixie in a
Mhm.
jar and say, I wish to make a deal with your community, all of you. Is there one that can speak on behalf of all of you, or do I need to gather you all separately?
Okay, I will give you a perception roll while you're doing that, and everyone else can do the same thing. So for your
Yay!
unknown peoples, we've got a set of dice over there.
Oh,
you
don't
get
make
out-
peoples use the
These
Well,
No, here's a D20. It's a safe D20, I hope.
These are the
good ones.
It's not the dice of shame.
well, they are for those who don't actually bring dice.
These are the good.
Yes.
These are good
I'm
ones.
teasing.
They also have another set here if that would be better. They haven't been used by anyone yet. So the reason they call the dice of shame is most players will roll bad luck.
Five, actually.
They had
So the one shape like that's the D20. It's the one that most people roll for skill checks. And I was going to put a rolling tray on this side for people, so that way you've got something to roll on. You'll find most tables, if you roll on them too much, end up with little divots everywhere from the dice. Or really big divots if they use metal dice.
They're hollow though, I swear. They're very light.
Those are so cool.
I got a 2 by the way.
Okay, so for you would add, for what you are, I'd say add 8 to your dice roll. And that represents your character's perception score.
Yeah. Given my knowledge of Fate, both specialisation of nature and also Court to the Art of Realms,
I'm happy to upgrade the inspiration dice.
Yeah.
Cool. Got a 26.
You got a 26?
15.
15?
I don't think I get inspiration dice or anything.
Well,
No,
technically you've been dealing with Dark Fey more than anyone else, so roll d4 and add it to the result.
Yeah. You've had practice.
So when we're talking about other rules,
27. I'll take a 27
so
over
this
26.
is an advanced form of Dungeons and Dragons, which is why I've told people learn the basic rules and we'll add this later on as you play.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff to start with if you've never done it before.
Yes.
Okay, so what did...
so persuasion.
Yep.
I've got expertise.
Perception.
Perception.
Or perception.
Yeah.
Right. Which I've got expertise in. So I've got that extra. 26.
And how did Reese go?
8.
You got 8. And how did Mel go?
19.
19. Did pretty well. And 15. And how did Jeremy go?
31.
Okay, so...
But he's actually more watching outwards, not watching the pixies.
Okay, so those of you who got under 20 notice that the pixie is looking very deferential. So is looking like it is a 6 armed wing creature.
Right.
Well, it is a Fey Dark, not the Wood Fey.
Yes.
And they do look a little different than their surface cousins because they're designed to live in dark places.
Yes.
And some of its arms are blades.
Okay.
So this is what the pixie looks like?
No messing about. Yes.
And its wings look razor sharp instead of just like butterfly wings like their surface kin.
Kind of reminds me of Eve. But I know she's not a pixie.
Okay, so those of you who got over 20 realize that the pixie has been very deferential to Eep.
Yeah.
And that Eep is actually changing colours as it's looking at it.
Right. That's not a language I know.
It's not a language most people know, but your bag knows it.
Yeah.
And
I could ask my bag. What can you tell me about what's going on there?
he probably won't respond. Pretends it doesn't know. And what Dracomir notices is all the pixies...
I'm happy if it stays at the 20 plus because he was paying more attention to outside anyway rather than the dark phase. So.
I was just about to give you a response based exactly on you not looking at the rest of the party.
Okay.
Is you notice all the other pixies have stopped glowing and seem to be looking directly at the party.
Right.
So you seem to have gotten the entire attention of a community of Dark Fae.
That's not a pleasant experience.
Valkyries is absolutely comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say the Calcrix's experience and it, she's like, this is fine.
And Calcrix notices that the pixie in the jar is pointing to Eep as the representative.
Okay, so Calcrix will pop Eep down in front of her, and she will actually she'll pop Eep at a spot where Eep is level to her, so that he doesn't have to look up. She goes, well, my friend, it seems that you represent these people, which I'm very glad to do, because I don't like seeing your people caught in jars like this,
And you hear Eve say, "Death to the infidel!"
exactly.
doesn't say a lot.
So I would like to
Usually
come
it's
to
scary.
an agreement that is safe for all of us, if we can negotiate something. I would like a safe and quick, the safest and quickest passage out, but most importantly that no physical, mental or spiritual harm is caused to any of the members here that we're protecting. Not just the party, but all of the peoples who aren't Dark Fae, any of the peoples we're protecting Dark Fae.
Not that you can tell.
Hopefully they'll be able to hold their own because I've catched me on the wording.
Yeah.
And I appreciate no pranks because this is not a time for those sorts of things right now. You and I both have had our fun tussling and things like that, but at the moment there's too many demon lords, and to be frank, I don't want to die right now. I want to have more adventures with you.
Prince of the demons after this is
In
over.
return, I propose that we will free all of these dark fey pixies from these horrible little jars, to return to their home here in the Shadowlands, and to not cause harm on any nearby villages that might be next to here of normal peoples, non-dark fey peoples. And of course, there's always coffee and cookies and hugs and rustles from me. But they come anyway.
You have a feeling that the wording of that doesn't work too well for your needs.
Okay. Can I get help for Rule to change it? Or do I need to figure out how to reword it myself?
Well, you've worded it in such a way that the pixies could not protect you from demons because they're non-fey.
Oh, I
And
see.
everything that you
Yeah.
said, the pixies will just let demons go through and murder the lot of you because they're not allowed to interfere.
Oh, okay. Brain.
And if you come across undead, they're also completely free to massacre you or murder you.
If they're inclined to protect us, then
Well, getting you to the surface makes a responsibility.
Yes.
Unless, of course, it's a group of murderers, some elves wanting to kill you.
yes. Sorry, my brain is trying to include all of those things, but not exclude the things. And
Yeah.
Most
can
most
we
benefit.
just say I've reworded it? So
You would
that-
expect most agreements with Fae is best to be kept simple.
Yeah, but Calcrix talks.
Mm-hmm.
We all
Yeah.
know that is
Which
her
is-
flaw.
Yes, which is one of the reasons why Claw gave you the wording
Yes.
for this. So if you use what Claw said, he would have closed all those loopholes.
Yes. But
So, Paul, would you like to do a skill check for closing loopholes?
Yes.
I was going to say, so I tried to write down what
Mhm.
Paul and Wesley said, but my hands can only do so much.
Yes. It's a good thing I get that.
I was reading from them.
Mm-hmm.
As a player, I was also going to suggest to say, for all the people that you see here, there's some people that aren't seen.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, people isn't here,
Yes,
so.
that needs to be a persuasion.
I will. What is your Fae knowledge? That would probably be under
It's on nature,
nature.
but it's
Make
also,
nature
it's
check.
also an invocation.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll work with any skill.
Mm-hmm. Make it nature based because you're trying to figure out how best to work with the Fae.
Yep. So nature, Fae, we've got the invocation.
I was going to say, I kind of wish it was my role because at least I could do
Yeah.
a reroll.
Yes, there is that.
We don't have any table rerolls.
There are some, but I've hidden how many there are.
Okay, so there is a table reroll if you do it badly and you want to reroll.
Yes.
And to be
Could I-
honest, as a party member, as a player and party member, I'm happy to use one of the table rerolls in this instance.
Yes. Well, okay. I will use one then. Rather better. 26.
Okay, so roughly asking what you wanted, you're basically giving them the gift of freedom in response to helping you get to the surface
Yep.
and arrive there undamaged, unmodified, and with
And unharmed
yeah,
by
unharmed.
the shortest safe route.
Doesn't matter how short or safe he is.
Yeah.
Specifying that can actually cause problems, but getting
Yeah.
you to the surface is
Yeah.
the main
Just
thing.
remember, their definition of accessible park corridors
Yeah.
is not the same as ours.
Yeah.
Mm.
Plus, they're not going to worry too much about holes. Yes. Safe for all of us, not just you guys. But yeah, simple is best.
If I
And they're going to want to get this over and done with quickish, so they're going to get us out of there pretty quickly anyway.
I
What
was
were you
going to
gonna
say, if I remember correctly. Oh no, I'm remembering incorrectly. I thought they were in.
But
I
remember
thought there was a
also,
group in.
technically we're not asking the Fae to lead us out. We've got the dwarf to lead us out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
They're escorting us.
so I thought when we came in there was a group together in a jar.
No, it was each was a single one,
They
but there
are
was a
single ones.
community of them around the
Yeah.
settlement.
So
There was a couple of clusters of bottles.
we need to go and find all of these jars now once the agreement's made.
No,
Okay, cool.
because basically you were talking to the community through
Right.
a free freight arc.
Yeah.
How are we going to get out of the jars then?
Well, that wasn't part of the agreement.
Oh, okay. Yep.
As you finish the agreement, you hear Eep say agreed.
Yep.
As all the jars shatter.
Oh,
Okay.
nice. Calcrix will hand her the cookie bag to continue giving out cookies to pixies if they want cookies.
As you see over 100 pixies gather around you.
Good thing that bag has as many cookies as you pull out of it.
Yes.
And you hear them starting to chant.
To chant?
Chant.
Oh, okay.
What are they chanting?
They seem to be casting some sort of group spell.
Okay.
What language is it?
They are using the Fey language of Sylvan.
I can
With-
understand that.
It comes across to you as imagine chalks down the nailboard sort of version of Sylvan.
Right.
Picking the worst tones, worst pronunciations. It sounds completely horrific to you. Being used to dealing with the light Fae, the dark Fae, always make it unpleasant.
Yeah.
It's the death metal version of Sullivan.
Basically.
So Calcrix is kind of like nodding really.
Yeah.
She's digging it. Mind you, she also
Very
listens
finished
to
version.
classical music and opera. So.
Oh dear.
But it does seem to be along the lines of change. Is what you get out of it, as everyone then gets to make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay.
Anyone who's close to me gets +3 because I'm a paladin.
You're a paladin.
I
Paladins
was
give
gonna
people
say,
bonuses.
where are you then?
Yeah, I
Are
mean,
you-
Who would
are
you like to be standing next to?
Are you
A
close?
a dragon who has shown many colors, which is unusual for a dragon. You've never heard of a dragon to have more than one color. Or a elf who has some of the shadow fae who aren't supposed to exist, saying they're dedicating their life to serving him.
okay. Does anyone look nice? Like, it's cool people?
There is
I
a
Well, I can't see it, yeah.
there is a human who has a trident that looks like it's full of electricity.
Calcrix says, "Excuse me, I'm a dragon. No, I'm not just a dragon. I'm an MF dragon.
Yeah.
There is a dragonborn who represents the Dragon Society, and just most people who have seen him before generally don't want to talk to him again, unless of course he's chosen you to represent something, in which case, well, you've learnt the hard way that saying no always comes out badly.
Okay, great.
Even the leaders of most nations don't like to interact with him because that means bad things are happening.
Cool. I'll stay away from him. And I guess, was it Arnie?
Yeah, yeah.
I'll-
And then you find that you actually end up standing near him anyway because he always seems to gravitate somewhere near Lani,
Yeah.
as he keeps telling Lani what not to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only after Lani's actually done it.
Yeah.
She's still learning how to do this time stuff.
I literally.
His normal response is, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lonnie just first learned that. I think first learned all of this is happening maybe like
Not long ago.
9 months ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
So she is very new,
Mm.
especially when you look at time. So
Yeah.
And when people mess with time, if you're around Lani or Drazzle, you get to see both sides of the story, what it was before they messed with it and what it was afterwards. Whereas those who aren't near them only find out what happened after the time has changed.
Yes. And at the time you're seeing both of them are true.
it's very
Yeah.
complex, and this is why Lonnie is, even though has great dark blue hair, start seeing some of it turning. that
Considering
silver.
I'm not cool enough for people to hang around, I got a 12.
Yep.
You got peoples with you.
So for your Constitution save, you would add 4 to the result.
Not good. What did you get? 5. So 9
Mm.
total. I got a nat 20, which makes it a 30 total.
Mhm.
17.
Of course, the paladin's standing next to the person who doesn't need it,
Yeah.
and is not
Yes.
standing next to the 2 people who
Who
could
do
do with
need
it
it.
the most.
Yes, like me. Yes, the only reason I got 2 digits is could I get +1 from my cloak.
And how did Jeremy go?
13.
Okay.
Probably like the best roll ever.
So, apparently there's going to be one of you left behind.
Yeah, she rolled 20.
Peebles.
No, it wasn't Peebles who rolled a 20, it was Lani. As Lani watches the entire rest of the people here turn into pixies, and you're the only one not a pixie.
Interesting.
Makes moving over holes and things easy.
And the pixies start to leave you behind as they fly out over the water.
Oh,
Goodness, I don't know what to do.
Do
All the
I-
flying thing. I don't fly. I have flying people.
Do I notice?
Yes, you all notice that Lani's been left behind.
Calcrix, if she can resist it, will not leave.
Isn't Calcrix a
No, a pixie.
not a pixie?
Doesn't matter, she won't leave. She'll
Kid-
stay with Lani.
Are
And she'll call out to eat
my
and say,
pixie friends
"Miss."
strong and can push me?
Can pixies cast spells, right? Do we...
Pixie, you are exactly the same as you were, except now you're a pixie.
Oh, so we don't have their
Yeah.
cool spells?
No.
No extra spells.
Yeah, do we have access to them?
And you're an invisible pixie.
Yes. Do we have access to them? Yes. Do we have access to our magic items?
Technically, yes.
Technically.
But you have been polymorphed.
Yes. So if I get my flying carpet out and hand it to Lonnie,
You look for your bag, it's not there.
oh
Jeremy.
Does Dracula feel like he can fade back?
Technically,
Being a natural shapeshifter?
if you wish to, but then you might not be able to turn back into a pixie.
Mm-hmm.
The benefit of being a natural shapeshifter is you can undo a...
Polymorph works.
Yeah. But...
Oh, sorry.
What was that area?
I was waiting for you to finish, please.
I was trying to say that the benefit of a natural polymorpher is you can undo someone else's polymorph spell, but you can't then turn back into what they changed you into.
yeah.
You've now been given a form that makes you the size of a mouse.
Calcrix will stay with Lani and call out to Eve that her friend Lani has been missed.
You all see one of the pixies give Lani a smack in the back of the head.
Yeah, I would like to accept whatever polymorph that they want to do. I would like to not resist.
And then you see Lani get picked up by said pixie.
Oh,
Yeah.
as apparently it's dragging her around by her collar.
And her hair.
Just fixing it up by my own.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because apparently they can't redo the spell.
That's fair.
We can all carry her around. Just a swarm of pixies.
Not every pixie's strong enough to carry her.
Yeah.
There are a couple of pixies who are stronger than they look.
Yes.
One being the dragon.
Yes, so I'll help. I was going to say, if I am stronger, I'll.
You believe it's Eep actually carrying her.
Yeah, and
Not surprised.
I will.
Which is also why you got smacked on the back of the head.
Because it was
Yeah.
eat.
Because it was E.
Yeah.
Does Lonnie have that little bit tingling feeling of that rose bush that was chasing her through the Fey Dark one time?
Very much so.
Yeah. I was like, oh, hey, Eve. Yeah. So.
Please don't chase me with slicey arms.
Yeah. So, okay.
Well, if you do, don't catch me.
And then you sort of notice that you're now dangling over this lake about 200 feet below as you're now flying up to the ceiling.
Right.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say thank you for holding on to me. I'm very grateful.
You realise that if you had have gone the dwarven way, you'd probably have to fight hundreds, if not thousands, of demons on the way out.
Yeah.
Think of the XP.
If you got XP.
No, I was gonna say if we didn't.
You get as
Well, we
much
don't-
experience doing this as you do flying out using magic.
Yes.
I
Because-
kind of like the fast flighty way, even though I know deep down inside,
Yeah.
or possibly not even deep down, Drachnima hates this.
Because the GM uses milestones, not XP.
You reach story points and then you gain a level.
Yeah.
So you can do as little or as much as you wish. If the story advances a year, you gain a level. But if you don't interact with the story, it goes on without you.
Yeah.
So you find yourself flying up to a hole about a foot wide as the pixies start flying up that hole.
Okay.
What
Can
did
you
I
s-
do?
Can you switch
Squeeze?
yourself
Like-
down?
I think we might have to make this hole a little bit bigger.
And then you see Lani get dragged into the hole by something as there's this really interesting sound of Lani going into the hole. Pretty much. Eep has never been known to be gentle to people.
No.
No, he's dark fey.
Lani feels the entire process.
Yeah, great.
Feels as if someone's breaking all her bones and stretching her through a hole.
And you thought rolling a natural 20 would be good.
Yep, I know, right?
Yeah, well,
Sometimes a natural 1 is interesting.
Yeah.
Sometimes a natural 20 is interesting.
Just depends.
You seem to go on for days through these winding tunnels of
right.
ratways through the ground until you pop out into a area of mountainside.
Okay.
And you see a probably about a 40-foot length of Lani come out of the passageway.
Wow.
Well, when you condense a medium-sized creature into a foot-long tube,
Yeah.
it is quite long.
Yeah.
As then the pixies start pushing Lani back together again.
For some
Like
reason, I'm
Mike
thinking
TV.
about Gumby.
I was gonna say looking like Gumby or looking like Mike TV coming out of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Well, it was this, the part of the wording was getting you out there in one piece.
Yes, it has been
Um,
unharmed. Yeah. Yes,
So technically, as much trauma as you did of being rendered into a noodle, you didn't get killed.
Correct.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Without a black hole.
And one of the curses of undying, if you ever get it, is no matter how much trauma the body is put under, you don't actually die. You can be turned to paste and not die.
Yep. It's great.
Turn to paste and then burnt solid, not die. What fun. Feel all of it too.
Just watch Doctor Who and Torchwood.
Yeah.
Yes. Captain
Yes.
Jack.
I've referred to that to people who say the curse of immortality.
Yeah.
Very much so.
And so yes, before you guys are turned back into your normal forms, you get to help put Lani back together again.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yes.
I read
So-
this archaic poem about this poor egg that fell apart and people put it back together. So as I'm helping, I'm humming the tune of this little rhyme that I know from
This
a
archaic
book
poem.
I read.
Yeah. I think a restoration and a prayer of healing would be the way to go at this point.
Well, the pixies are doing it through their magic, the magic of community.
Yay.
Which doesn't make it pleasant.
No.
It's like all the King's Horsemen and all the King's Men, but in this case it's all the Dark Fae Pixies.
And as it's currently night in the surface, they still have power because they do not have power during the day.
Yeah.
Which, if they were halfway through, would mean they'd have to wait until sunset before they could finish.
Yeah.
God, I'm so glad that we got through on this one because Lani's spending a whole day. Stuff like a noodle would not have been fun.
Yeah.
Well, their ability to sustain her in that form would also disappear during that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's Lonnie's new title? Lonnie Noodle. Noodling.
I feel
Why did they
like
extend it?
I feel like you should do something like, you know,
Queen of Pasta. Queen of Pasta.
yeah.
And you have the feeling that any demons in anywhere close to you would have just parted and let the Dark Fae through, because technically Dark Fae are treated as demons as well.
Ah.
Yeah.
They are partly fiends, partly Fae.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Which is the only way you could have actually gotten through the Underdark without being forced to fight.
Yeah.
And as you're a horde of little pixies,
Mm.
very few demons will stand up against you.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nope.
Unless they
Stupid.
become food too.
Yes, they're not that stupid.
Yeah. So is this the smartest way for us to get up?
Yes.
It was the only safe way for you to get up.
Yeah.
Before they go,
You did say
Calcrix
safe.
is going to take out her cookie bag and offer cookies to each pixie. Do any of the pixies take cookies?
On the other side of this wall directly, and it goes in through the laundry, and you got the sliding door. When finished, make sure the sliding door is shut, otherwise the cat will leave donations on the carpet.
Classic. Yes.
He assumes that the carpet in there is where he's supposed to poop if the door's ever left open.
No, it's
And-
where he goes. These carpets are the evil enemy from everywhere because my owner really loves them, so I'm going to summon diarrhea on an instant
Yep.
and render them absolutely unwashable.
Which is why we have no more fluffy blankets in there.
Yeah.
I don't know how he does it.
Hey Google, bathroom light on.
Yeah.
Do any of the pixies take cookies?
Yes, that they take one and pass it along, sort of thing.
Okay, so the cookies don't size down to pixie size.
No, they don't need to, because Ape knows them well. They can eat 10 times their body weight.
Yes.
I see. All right, well that's fair.
Well,
I'm guessing because they're approved of by the Dark Queen. It's probably
well, they're also the part of the underground cleaning crew. They
Yeah.
get rid of the bodies left behind.
yeah.
Yes. Mostly by eating them.
So yes,
But
when
this also means that they won't serve Exantiotl because
So-
they had a bite of a cookie.
when dawn comes, the rest of you turn back into your normal form,
Yeah. Cool.
because daylight breaks their magic.
Yes.
Before I turn back in my
Never will turn back somewhat before then.
Yeah.
I want to spend a little bit of time somewhere in the grass using my blade arms and pretending I'm a kung fu master. And if Eat's in for playing with me, I'm going to play kung fu master with Eat
That
and
sounds fair.
my blade arms.
Lonnie, as a weapons master, if she's back to somewhat normal form,
Yep.
she will give you some really cool pointers on cool blade moves you could do.
Kung fu blade
Yes.
moves.
Yeah.
Leaf blades.
Literally all I can think is like Scyther.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Of course, it's
that's
only
the
useful if
thing.
you're a dark faith.
Mostly posing and just having fun.
Yes.
And Peoples tries to demonstrate some cool moves so that you can seize the grass because I'm not.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, watch this, but
I'm not here. You can't see it.
Yes. Watch the grass.
But you do
I
hear a
don't
lot
hear
of
it.
clapping from the actual Dark Fae pixies because they can still see you.
But yeah, so once we get back to the surface and we're waiting, effectively apparently waiting for daybreak type stuff,
Yeah.
do the other pixies hanging around during the night?
The other pixies will hang around until daybreak because once
Yeah.
daybreak happens, their spell technically ends and they're required to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, so Dimmer will actually change back to normal form during the night, so therefore he can work out exactly where we are, if he's been here before, or recognise the place, but also be aware and be on what, effectively.
Yeah.
Well, they have led you to the centre of Rockhome, close enough to see the dwarven capital, but not close enough to have entered the capital without the permission of the dwarves.
Yeah.
Because hey, that would also be put you in harm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They basically took the letter of the statement and brought you out here to a point where you were trying to get to without breaching any of the others.
Thanks
Yeah.
to the loophole closing.
Yes.
Because, otherwise, they would have made sure you appeared out of Rockhome completely.
Yeah.
Look, we're in the middle of the Orklands.
Yep.
What fun.
Yeah.
Middle of the Orklands, and then they all leave.
Or left up in the middle of the desert in the water or something like that.
Yeah.
So, Lani has a lot of interesting memories of seeing from different parts of her body as your eyes weren't together for most of the trip.
Ugh.
Gross. Love that.
And you got to taste the earth you were moving through because, well, you couldn't actually keep your tongue in your mouth.
Yeah. Feeling like
So-
Thunderbonk over here.
And also feeling like your brain was dragged along a big chunk of rock as well.
No, Thunderbonk didn't resist at all changing, so Thunderbonk was actually a pixie through all of this, so he didn't taste nothing.
I'm talking about just how he used to live.
He could have licked the rocks on the way.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
He probably licked Lani on the way if he's going to do that.
Mm.
Yeah.
I would
Lani's
like to
going to
see
be
how he
dreaming
lives
of
up to
that
his
for
name.
some time.
Hey Google, bathroom off.
She already has enough nightmares of this.
So,
So it's just
good way to tell if someone's in the bathroom is we have a blue light appear to let people know.
Yeah.
Lani might be a little bit claustrophobic these days.
Yeah.
I'm
It's gonna be hard for a sailor.
Yeah.
I'm not
Well,
sure
it
that
might be more underground or Fae.
Yeah.
Promises to Fae.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I think this is one of the things where me doing restoration on you on the regular might be worthwhile.
Mm.
Better than counselling.
I think at this stage, this is just one thing Lonnie has to learn to deal with.
Well, yeah. But if it gets bad for you,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's finding out and resisting an actual Fae compulsion after you've agreed to it.
I know, right?
Yeah. Yes. But yeah, but that's going to cost money because it's a level of strife.
We can say
With
Lonnie
mental problems.
naturally resisted because he kind of messed with her before.
Yeah.
And she
Not
was
kind of messed with you
fair.
before, has been messing with you the whole time.
Yeah. But it was like he it's funny. It's just not very nice sometimes.
Well, to get you out of a dreamscape you were in was chasing you to make sure you left it.
Yeah, exactly. So like
Of course, each time was chasing you represented horrors from your past.
yeah, that's fine.
So he had fun, but he saved you.
Yeah, she had to make sure that like I was moving along. So
Well, couldn't have you dwell in your horror.
no.
You see, with the coming of the sun, that there are many dwarven armies gathered outside the capital of the dwarves. Rarely do they actually gather,
No, they don't. And
and there's not supposed to be that many dwarven armies.
I'm not going to tell anybody. But we have done what we've promised to do for the dwarves, so we can now use our entrance token.
Well, technically, you needed that to get in through their borders, so you've
Oh.
still got it.
Oh yeah,
You can
Yes.
now, because you're in their borders, you can now walk up to them and say you're here to see the king.
and have a good reason to do so. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. It's probably about 6 to 8 hours walk to the capital from here.
Yeah, that's fine.
You can use magic to make that faster.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, we say our goodbyes to
The pixies.
the pixies. What about the people who are traveling with us? Are they
Most of
coming
them would
along?
probably come with you because they wouldn't know how to get home from here.
Fair.
Yeah.
That and the dwarves don't believe gnomes exist.
There we go.
Even though one of their capitals is above the dwarven capital, on the dwarven sacred mountain. Of course, no one lives up there because it's the dwarven sacred mountain. They share a pantheon, but of course, they don't exist.
Right.
And people fit in perfectly with the dwarves here, because people will say, I don't exist.
I was gonna say, Peoples doesn't here. Yeah, Peoples isn't here, so of course.
Hey, that is the trick to dwarves.
Come daybreak, Jack Dimmer will take human form.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Unfortunately, the version of Phantom Steed that I presently have access to isn't the 5th ed version, so it doesn't give you multiple steeds.
Mm-hmm.
So I could help one person.
But you couldn't help the contingent of 30-odd people.
No. No. So we might as well walk.
So you be descending into the Dwarven Valley. You
Yeah.
can see the big lake off in the distance. Rumours are that there are creatures of legend living in that lake.
I'm not surprised.
Examples?
The equivalent of Loch Ness Monster.
Right.
Calcrix will take out her looking glass and see if she can see anything, even if there's no hope whatsoever of seeing anything.
As you're looking, you see Eep peering over the end of the thing to look at you through the other end.
She's gonna make believe and go, oh, I see a mysterious monster in the lake!
And then
Oh
Eep
my
starts making
goodness!
shapes on the other end of it because Eep can do that.
And he
I'm gonna
does
totally play along and
Of course.
I'm gonna grab the nearest person. Who wants to be the nearest person?
Peoples is next year.
Okay. Peoples, look! I can see a mysterious monster at the lake. I'll put the looking glass up backwards so that you can look through it.
At approximately where people's
Hopefully
heads
you
might be.
get that I'm playing a game with Eve.
Do you look through
People
it?
says, looks through and says, I'm not here.
Fair.
Looking through, it looks as if that there is a creature out of your nightmares on the other end of the
Is it?
Yeah. Unfortunately, sometimes he does look like people's nightmare.
Calcrix has no idea, mind you, that Eve does this. So
Yeah.
as far as she's concerned, it's all fine.
He doesn't always have control of how he appears to people.
Yeah.
Because literally, he looks like the creature he's currently consuming.
People start
Oh, so
smacking
just-
in horror.
Does she look like it wasn't a rock?
It was a demon bird, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, rock.
His favourite food is fairy dragon. So he looks like fairy dragons while he's consuming them.
He hasn't looked like a fairy dragon for a little while though, because
There's a fairy
Thing
dragon in the
with
Friday
eight.
game now.
Yep. That's how they learned he's actually dark fae. Until then, no one had been told.
Yeah.
So, you can see that this big lake is there. The dwarves look as if they've got about 10 different armies set up.
Right.
And that means roughly 10,000 soldiers.
Right.
They're only rumoured to have one army.
As I said, I'm not going to tell anybody.
Well, that's the rumours of the dwarves, because all dwarves look alike to most people, as far as the dwarves are concerned. They've all got beards. Of course they all look alike.
Yeah. How many different beard colours have they got?
Many.
Few. Exactly.
Any colour you can imagine they have.
Yeah. Different styles, all sorts of things.
But of course, they all look the same to people because they're dwarves. Even the shaved dwarves look like the bearded dwarves.
That's worrying. Right. But if they're going to stereotype everybody else like that, that's fine.
They're the biggest stereotypers out there, because if you're an elf, you're like every other elf. Unless, of course, you deal in crafting, in which case then you're not an elf, you're a crafter. And all crafters are unique.
Right. Including all crafting dwarves.
Yes. But the thing is, they're no longer dwarfs if they're crafters.
That's a good point.
All crafters are unique. Everything else is the race.
And I am a crafter.
Which is why they tried to fix all halflings, because they treat all halflings as dwarven children.
They're very dogmatic.
I never said most of the people in the setting are smart.
No. Well, no, they're dogmatic and they're simplistic in their interactions with other people.
And I'm sure it was a mistake in their learning that no one has bothered to fix, because everything's perfect. You can never get it wrong. And halflings don't appear in a lot of people's histories.
Yeah.
Because they hide and pretend they don't exist.
They're not
Interesting. The cat's like looking at me like I've got chicken. I'm
Well,
like,
you've been in the kitchen preparing something.
diabetic friendly gym, diabetic friendly. Hello, everybody else.
Thank you.
Feel free to move that closer towards the centre. Do you have need of anything else? Drink or... All good?
So while you're here, you've heard of that the elves of the Elven Forest are very close to abandoning the nation and moving out of the region. They've spent 2 years readying their great relics to move. Loel has been partly responsible because he's made it possible for them to do so, because they almost lost their trees of life. By pinching all the elves destined to save the tree of life through history, he's managed to actually save it.
Yes. So me being everybody's boogeyman was done to save elves.
So one of the greatest honor amongst the elves is to be destined to save their tree of life. That is a gift to them by their main god.
And then I went and nicked them without telling anybody. So there's all these people who they thought had been removed from their own destiny to help save the Tree of Life by actually being teleported in through time to save the Tree of Life.
Because they literally disappeared from the moment he stole them in time, and magic couldn't determine what happened or where they went. Because until they reached their destination, they didn't exist. You also hear the gnomish city is currently getting itself back to working order.
Cool.
It had crashed in the Alphatian nation. And that the group's main sponsor, known as Redrian, who's working with the god Benicanda, who believes that gods need to get out of the affair of mortals, because gods be crazy.
Yes.
And he's the one god that none of the other gods can see. Because they've forbidden anyone to have knowledge of that who doesn't actually interact with it. So until the other gods physically see him, they don't know he exists.
So I'm just giving him a couple of bits of
Which is
Now that'd be someone beautiful. Can't see me, can't see my god.
And he's in the process of getting the flying gnomish city back to flying. Without blowing it up, which the previous plans had a very high chance of doing.
Because nobody's plans.
No, they were playing for people who didn't really care whether it blew up or not.
Yeah.
And in fact, there were bonuses that blew up in some ways.
Yeah, well that's true.
A few people actually wanted it to blow up. But Wednesday Party did manage to convince the technological god to go and restart the engine that belonged to his spaceship. Which the gnomes had since stolen and turned into a flying city.
Yeah. Now he wants it back, but
Well, he can't technically get it back because it's been so modified
okay.
that it would be
But the
impossible.
point is, he knows how to actually make it work.
I feel like saying, well, Mr. Bond.
Yeah, he might as well make a new one at that point.
He's got nowhere to go back to.
Ah.
He's also a time traveler. So his people don't exist yet.
Right.
You've had chicken, you've had pies.
The also news is that the elemental cults who are currently in the Norse region are looking to bring the seasons back to normal.
Good.
Because they've managed to gain audience with the elemental rulers, who are the parents of the primal titans.
So,
Right.
How are we hearing this news?
Through Redrian and Drazzle.
So when the news comes forward, even though Reggie and Drazzle will already know this, Calgary's like, hey, I'm a part of that group. I did that. We helped. So yeah,
Excellent.
that's Friday's group. So she's super excited to be contributing to finally getting the primal titans to
Because
calm
currently,
down. Calm down.
as
The
of
same ones
spring
we
this
woke
year,
up.
nothing has started to grow. Because they've messed with the seasons.
Yeah. You can go around waking them up.
Well,
That was a nice
from
thing.
Calcrix's point of view, Dracnema was the one who woke him up. He
Right.
had to go and follow his god's wish and pick a fight with the really big dinosaur avatar of the Titans and woke them all up. But now she is fixing this problem with her friends and hopefully all will be back to rights. She says totally tongue-in-cheek.
That guy, Dracula here, but he's off to the side, watching
Yeah.
external.
You know better.
Yeah. Right. We've got a Dwarven King to go see.
Yeah.
So let's go
Yeah.
do that.
And luckily, no halflings to threaten the king.
Yes.
It's believed that the halfling who assassinates the dwarven king gets a chance at godhood.
That's a little worrying.
Everyone's got to have a goal.
Yeah, but what sort of person is going to want to assassinate the Dwarven King just to become a god?
I don't
Do
know
you
anyone
want-
who wants to become a god.
There are many
Yeah.
halflings who want to assassinate the dwarven king. Very few
Yeah,
actually want the
not a
godhood
lot.
of it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The sort of person who'd be willing to do that is not necessarily the sort of person you want with that amount of power.
And one of them is married to one of the PCs in the Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Well, they got introduced with one of their first dates where she murdered the entire tavern so that they could have a quiet night together.
Oh god.
On top of the bodies of the dead people.
Oh my gosh.
So you see my point.
So yes, they do exist. And he learned not to say no to the character after that.
Yes.
I have more respect for him if he did, because it sounds like the kind of character that would do some pretty horrendous things. That said,
Well, she already has done horrendous things.
we do need to get ourselves to a dwarven
So
king.
it takes you a few hours, and you manage to make it to the edges of the dwarven army, and they recognize Calcreek's coming in.
They recognise me?
Yep.
Yep.
Well, you're hard to miss.
You were also quite famous amongst the
Oh,
dwarves.
that's right, from the first battle where he took me off the battlefield. I was with the dwarven section of soldiers.
You have also travelled here with Drazzle at times. And most dwarves think of Drazzle as much as they think of gnomes. They'd rather he didn't exist. But the fact that Drazzle will openly talk to gnomes in front of them is also quite worrying to them.
Just using her general charisma as she comes upon the army to kind of inspire them and continue to be an inspiration. As soon as she's in full view of the army, Carcrix will go up to the largest size that she can and spread her wings wide, showing off the gold scars that she got from the battlefield in the first battle across her wings, and she'll do like a jazz wings of inspiration. Just general, make them feel better and good about themselves.
Cool.
That's the only reason she'll do it.
As you approach the dwarves, you see they have quite a few siege machines with them. For dwarves, that means mechanical machines that move through steam power and magic. And you see that they do have a contingent of gnomes with them, with large golems.
Okay.
Eagles, who isn't here, do you know any of these gnomes? Recognise any family crests or?
You do recognize that they're using the technology normally used to provide service and maintenance of the gnomish communities, done up for war, and it's completely against their belief to do so. The fact that they've done this must mean that some accord has happened between the gnomes and the dwarves,
Right.
which was
Well, the fact that they're allowed the gnomes to be openly visible and conduct their machines in the middle of the Rockhome is of interest.
And you do know that most of the gnomish machines are powered by those who owe a debt to the community, which could be as simple as failing to pay for their pyramid scheme contracts on time, which they are well known for. So if you ever want to see the Ferengi-like people, most of the gnomes on top of this mountain are very much like that and quite willing to sell you shares in things that don't exist.
And insurance on the same.
Yep. But they are the premier flying people, as they fly through the air on explosions that sometimes reach their destinations intact.
So I was going to say, did people want to recognise anyone?
And you have one of the dwarven generals coming up with one of the gnome mech priests. Very few people are as well regarded amongst the gnomish community as those who manage the Great Machine.
So a person of great honour?
Personal wisdom.
Not great honour, of great authority.
Great authority.
If one of these gnomes tells another gnome to do something, very few gnomes are capable of saying no.
And he's called a
Mech priest.
priest.
As he tends their Great Machine, which is what takes the souls from people. Eventually they give them back if you've met their needs for their service.
No, don't yell at me. Come here.
But there's very little crime in their community because of it.
Come on.
Plus the legal fees can be quite hard to pay off.
Oh, crime. I thought originally you said there's very little crying.
Well, lots of crying, very
And
little
I
crime.
was going to say, I was sure that the result of being pulled into service for one of these machines, which sounds horrific to Calcrix, would be a lot of crying. But you said crime.
Crime, yes.
As in not murdering and robbing innocents.
So anything that requires payment to the community generally requires you powering the community as payment. They have an unlimited supply of unwilling volunteers.
Volunteers. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Well, that they are told that if they resist too much, they will not be returned to their body.
Yes. Resisting gets more put on your sentence.
Well, they can literally take your soul if they've got an agreement with you from anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
What happens to your body?
If your body's not safely stored by the gnomes, it just waits until they finish using you. which means if it takes more than, say, a minute or two, you may die of suffocation because your body has stopped breathing.
Right. Cool.
But in their machines, you're suspended until the time's over, at which point you're released.
Yes. To have no body. Right.
Oh no! If you've done it with them through their machine, you get your body back.
So it was a dwarven general.
Dwarven
and his
general
mech priest
and a gnome
There.
mech priest
that
Yeah.
approached Peebles, who's not here.
has approached the group.
Group. Okay. Yep.
You can tell it's a dwarven general. He has the most symbols on his armor, and they all seem to glow.
And an impressive beard.
He also has a hammer with a head almost as tall as he is.
Okay.
What I expect from a dwarf, for sure.
And he's swinging it around as if it's a tiny little hammer.
Mm-hmm. Because
Probably doing that whole like toss it in the air kind of thing.
Yeah. Because, hi, I'm a fighter and I've got a strength of 20.
Okay. He does greet the group, noting Calcrix is the first one they greet.
Yeah.
Oh,
Then-
okay.
Then it is Luell, which is
just
surprising.
Out of curiosity, do I get a small gift because I'm a dragon?
Well, the main gift is that they're not attacking strangers in
Yeah.
their nation while it's shut down.
Yeah.
That's a gift.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about the etiquette. She's just taking notes.
But from a dwarven perspective, they're very suspicious of any dragon that comes,
Yes.
which is why most of the time it's a gift of not attacking.
Yeah, she may or may not make the gift of not attacking back. But
And they're more than happy with that because they value their treasures. And they have lots of sparklies.
Mhm.
Yes.
Next greeted is Luell, which is a surprise because he is a elf.
Yes.
But he is well regarded by them. Then it would be Lani.
Yep.
Then it would be Drachnamar.
I was going to say, Dracnum's not here either. He's always hiding himself.
Or at least
That's
standing
interesting.
out of
Lonnie first over Dracula.
Well, mainly because they trust Drachnamar a lot less because his people are anti-metal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all about personality.
Yeah.
Well, that brings to the fact that Dracula was basically made to avoid Docus anyway.
Yeah.
They ignore the rest of you.
They know him not here. Sad and
Yes.
And
Treat you
the
appropriately.
Dwarven General sort of sets him out looking, so he's making sure that Drazzle is off to the side of him, not where he's looking.
Yes.
Upon seeing them ignore her friends, Calcrix would say, "This is Peebles who's not here, so I'm grateful that you did not greet her directly. And this is also our new friend, Taith. Taith? How do you say it
was
right?
it?
I think it was Teth. Yeah,
Teth?
let's just roll with Teth.
Yep,
Yeah.
Okay.
yep, Taith. Paladin, sorry, of, I'm just going to say, because it's Calcrix, of great renown.
Mm.
And if they don't remember who Tech is, then Calcrix is just going to pretend that they should know.
Right.
Okay, apparently with their fantastic rolls of 3 and 5 on their knowing who Teth is, that they look puzzled and just nod their heads sagely.
Yeah,
Like,
yep.
mm.
That's. She's not having any members of her party dissed just because.
It's funny.
Yeah. Right.
Well, in general, elves would be ignored.
Yeah.
Halflings would be treated as little kids who need to wait to be heard and
Yeah.
not speak.
We're looking at the dragon who takes in all the people who aren't outcast.
And so they then turn to Luell and ask, why are you here? Have you done as the king has asked?
Yes, we have. That's why we're here.
Okay, they're happy to take you to the king.
Excellent.
You can see there's actual damage on the outside of the dwarven city.
Okay.
It does look as if it's been hit by giant spears.
Yeah.
This would be their really silly conflict with the giants that they shouldn't be having.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, we're going to talk to them about that.
Okay.
Yes.
I have friends who are giants.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have a conversation.
Okay. And as you're led into the city, you see that big parts of the city have been burnt down.
Okay. Yeah.
Come on.
Happy day.
Yeah.
And there's quite a few gnomish devices in the city that looks as if they've been crushed.
Ow. These are pretty tough.
They are usually pretty tough.
Yes.
I'm going to have a word to them about wasting these weapons on giants when they need to be going to fight the master.
The general does talk about how the dwarves were recalled after the giants attacked.
Right.
Well, we're going to have to figure out a truce.
And that they've withdrawn all their armies to the capital, as the giants have managed to basically force them into the defense.
Yeah.
Is this the part where we're having a conversation? now?
General walking through as he's taking you into the center of Dengar, their capital, and
Let
then
me
you'll
know.
be heading down into the lower palace.
Let me know when it's appropriate.
But you can talk to the general and the gnome tech priest.
Yeah.
Good. Did they give names?
They did not.
I will ask.
The GM can't think of names at the moment,
Okay.
but they have names.
Alright. Do they have set names?
They would have set names, yes.
Okay. Placeholder names. We'll call one, just because my brain is not very imaginative too, we'll call him Good General Ben
Fair.
for now, and you can fill in his name later. And our mech priest, I want to call him Sir Throws a lot, but I don't think that. I think that's too much of a
I want to
mouthful.
call him
That-
Cog.
Pardon?
I want to call him Cog.
Cogs.
Cog? Yeah, go for that. Cog.
Sir Throws a lot sounds like a title. So that's valid.
He
Keep
could,
both.
Done.
he could be Cog Throws One.
Exactly. Or just Cog and his title is Throws a lot.
Yeah.
Because he does.
I'd rather give a more inventive name to the dwarven general,
well,
so
fair enough.
anyone can think of something appropriate to a dwarven general.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that, but for now I'm going to call him Ben.
It could be Ben Fohammer.
Ben Fohammer. Okay,
That's a
works.
good name.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fohammer's not a
Martin's
name.
picked a name that's actually known.
Ooh.
Fohammer is the name of the dwarf who rescues Theriel, the Dark Angel, in Soul Taker's Redemption.
Yeah.
From her book.
Yeah.
I do that every now and then.
There we go.
And I should have thought of something as smart as that. I've been out today and my side is burning from my hips to my neck. So
Hey, I have read your books.
I know you've read my books. I made you read them. I'm your wife.
Yes,
Um,
that's fair.
General Fohammer and Sir Cog. I have spent some time with giants recently, and I've learned that there has been an awakening amongst them and a gathering. And we came across, please fill in the town for me later, from Friday's group, up in the Northlands where Lady Pen...
That would be in Karamikos,
In
which
Karamikos.
is south of them.
There was a township in Karamikos that found itself similarly under siege from the giants, and this was because there was a misunderstanding about where the ancestral borderlands for the giants were. The giants having occupied these places for many thousands of years before anyone else did. And it could be that these problems and lives could be resolved and lives could be saved if you would be amenable to me trying to set up, or our group trying to set up a meeting between you and sorting out what exactly is the reason for their attack.
He would be happy for a dragon to get involved,
She's involved.
mainly because the dragons forced the giants to disband and not gather in numbers.
Yeah, they were different dragons. And I won't get the respect you think I'm gonna get. But
Oh, he's more after you imposing your will on them and making them submit.
yeah.
Because that's how he thinks.
Yeah. Yeah.
What
that's-
doesn't bend can be hammered into place.
Calcrick's pats Ben a little bit too hard on the shoulder.
And he's quite pleased that you think him worthy of such treatment.
He is adorable.
And then she'll make signs over the top of his head that he can't see towards anyone who's observing in her party to, oh dear. We're going to have our work cut out for us.
And you see a small little cog go flying through the air, hitting the general in the back of the head.
A cog?
Yep.
No, okay.
You notice that it was thrown by the cog priest.
Right.
Cog through a cog.
Yep.
Calcrix will wink at Cog.
He does slyly say that he's trying to introduce intelligence into the dwarven mindset.
I will enthusiastically support this cause.
So far, they admit that he exists.
Hey, that's a start.
Normally takes about 20 odd cogs before they notice.
To be honest, I'm greatly surprised to see you here. Is there anything that's brought about this accord?
Yes, the giants are wanting to clear the region of all other people.
Right.
They claim it as their territory. And everything else should be stepped on.
I wonder if there is a way to reach a compromise.
And the fact that they attacked the gnomish settlement on top of the mountain in full view of the dwarves was enough for the dwarves to
Get really annoyed.
yeah.
I'm very grateful that you have had dwarves come to your rescue. And I am very concerned that the giants are attacking you rather than negotiating.
Well, from the dwarven perspective, he says that only they're allowed to pick on the gnomes. No one else says.
Yeah.
Anyone else picks on the gnomes are brothers. They must die.
I don't know if you know or have heard of my relationship with gnomes, but
Oh yes, we have heard of the coffee emporium. We've opened up a shop up on the Upper Dengar.
Right.
I am more than an emporium for coffee, though. I have a refuge, Mount Dread, where I take in many gnomes who are looking for safety, particularly in the times of the Master. And let's just say this: if the dwarves think that only they can pick on the gnomes, they got to get through me first.
Well, most dwarves won't climb the mountainside, so the fact that we're sitting on top of their sacred mountain has stopped most of them picking on us.
Right.
Yeah, it's a smart.
Especially when, if they pick on us too much, things might just roll down the mountain. And
Yes.
they're right at the bottom of the mountain.
Yeah. Be wary.
But it is one way to get rid of our sewerage.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that.
That's fine.
Neither do I, to be honest.
It's a crappy situation to get into.
I was trying to avoid saying that.
Oh, poop, he says. I'm sorry I did.
I was gonna say, have you not learned that we cannot avoid puns?
Well, no, I can avoid puns. I'll let somebody else do them.
This is how.
Though Yellow Rain does have an interesting thing.
This is what happens.
He just
Yeah.
won't stop doing
Punish.
puns the entire way in.
Yes.
As you can understand now why most of the dwarves try to pretend gnomes don't exist. Because the gnomes will not stop telling puns.
This just makes Erin's previous character's name just work so much better. That
Duke and
gnomes,
cover.
yeah, Duke and Cover. That just gnomes are just known for puns.
Gnome body.
And for
lots of
legal
puns
agreements
like
that are
a
very
gnome.
hard to get out of.
Especially gnome bards. Gnome bards use it as an attack form. Vicious mockery, I will bud you into the ground.
And you find yourself taken into the royal throne room of the dwarves.
Yeah.
A rare honor for non-dwarves.
Calcrix is secretly thinking this is her proper place.
And
But she doesn't share that thought with anyone.
You do see all the guards wince at the sight of Drazzle.
Oh, of course they do.
Yes, but he's not the one in front, he's not the one talking, so it shouldn't be too bad for him.
Well, for people who are used to order, he
Yes.
completely undoes all that.
He's not that, yes.
Is this place built in a similar manner to the Undermountain in Kalanikos, where Giver went early on in his life, the metal corridors everywhere around?
This is not. This one's mostly stone, and it is perfectly straight, right angles everywhere, not a single curve in any of their construction.
Yep. Because dwarves.
These guys are really sweet.
What was in that dwarf too, although technically it was the metal cutlery that we were going to, they wanted to travel in. It was a big problem for exactly initially.
Yes.
And yes, you do see that they do have a couple of their stone chips here, which can literally move through stone. But of course, they're kept away from most of the people.
Yeah. Because it'd be so cool to nick.
And as you come in, you hear Llewell's titles get announced, echoing through the area,
Yep.
God, we're going to be here for ages.
including the title of the Shadow Elf.
Because they're going to move on to Lani's afterwards, and yeah, there are many of those.
I wasn't expecting that one, but if they're going to use it, I'm not going to complain.
Are we surprised by any titles for other people?
You do hear that Llewell is technically a father, and
Ooh,
Yes.
you're a dad.
I did find out, like, a session or so ago that my girlfriend was pregnant.
Oh, but you're a dad?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Are you a dad now?
apparently now.
Oh. Boy or girl?
don't know yet.
It didn't say.
In between?
Well, as an elf, it probably hasn't chosen yet.
Yes,
That's true.
and it doesn't really matter very much yet. Give them a decade.
Well, part of Names Day for elves is also choosing what they want to be.
Yeah.
Calgary hasn't chosen yet.
And then they start announcing a lot of Calcrix's titles.
I don't have any titles.
Oh, yes, you do.
Lonnie has been giving you some.
Oh, okay.
Just putting that into some of her stories.
Yeah.
For fun.
I'll express delighted surprise.
Well, one of them is representative of the Dark Lady.
Oh, that one's not surprising.
That's sort of the major one, really.
I was dragged in ages ago. But I would also like it knowing that I follow the Great One.
Also, would be Gnome Friend would be one of the titles dropped in there,
No friend is one she's grateful to have.
which the gnomes don't bestow on many people.
No.
And it goes on to Lani's long list of titles.
Try to go fast.
And
is so close to pulling out a tea and coffee set and just making everyone drinks while we go through all these titles.
well, you've got plenty of time to do that.
She doesn't want to be
Yeah.
rude.
As you can sort of see, most of the dwarves sort of like looking impatient and tapping.
Well, I know Lani's just evidenced the thought of can I push fast forward on this?
I'm going to go with I'm a dragon, so people shouldn't frown on it too much. I'm just going to start passing out coffees and hot chocolates and teas.
Dwarves are known for their patience, and most of them are sort of getting a bit.
Wait, I was gonna say it's gonna have to each turn.
I was going to say, how many titles does
King?
Mhm.
It took
Dragon
quite a
have?
while, and then yeah.
What
Just
about
added lines.
Dracula's got like
Yeah.
he's got like half a dozen.
He is quite a human soul.
And then it announces Drachnima's titles. Less than Lani's, but more than Calcrick's.
Right.
I'm fine. I'm good with not having many titles.
And notifying him as Chief of Chiefs of the Atruaghin. Also, Bringer of Destruction was thrown in there.
Oh.
That's a fun one.
Well, if the people he now leads ever go to war, then destruction's bound to follow.
Yes, it's going to be bad for everybody.
Because they don't really differentiate friend or foe. It's Atruaghin or non-Atruaghin.
Yeah.
And the fact that the Atruaghins have called a Chief of Chiefs means they're planning on getting out there soon.
Yes.
Yes. They usually don't.
They normally fight each other because that's their form of fun.
Yeah.
And relationships.
Do they actually call him General for the collective of the Darkin Army?
They do. You're the
Okay.
general of the Second Army of Darkin.
Yeah.
Has he moved up an army?
No.
Okay.
Sometimes the armies get shuffled around for the fact that two of the armies got decimated down to less than 100 people out of 1,000. Then they go through Teth's honorifics. And what does Teth think of would be honourable honorific from his life?
I think he's pretty proud.
Now, what honorifics would he come up with? Something, and it will happen.
Sure, he's the champion of his clan.
Clan champion.
Clan champion. That
Yeah.
is quite an achievement because most of them have been killed off.
Great.
Like the clan champion
Well, all
is
through
the
time.
main target of the Shadow Elves.
Okay, cool.
That,
Could've
but
done
they're,
that
they're
before.
literally their primary target because
Yes.
if the clan champion falls with the clan sword, the clan is screwed.
Yes.
Do I have the clan sword?
No, the previous champion fell with the sword.
Okay.
Lani's the champion of my clan, and they look at Lani and go, "Oh, fuck that."
Yeah, non-elf champion of a clan. It must be bad.
And that there
It's-
are
it's Lani the
multiple
Undying.
minor champions. There's only one clan champion.
Yeah.
And the only person above him is clan leader and tree speaker.
Yeah.
And there are only 20 known tree speakers amongst all the elven clans.
Yeah.
To have a tree speaker in your clan means you have access to one of their tree of lives.
They've all buggered off.
So from your personal family, you might be the closest would probably say equivalent of a minor clan leader instead of the major clan leader.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yes,
Of
that
course,
they
there's
do
one of my
honour,
titles, which comes from carrying the sword.
which can only be drawn by the clan champion.
That's right.
Because as soon as you draw it, you become the clan champion, or you die.
Yes. Yes, because you get chosen by the sword.
And you're a
So-
clan champion until you die.
Okay. Yes.
But
So you've got to be
Lani's
good
the
enough to not
champion.
die.
Peebles.
Yeah. So this is the thing. My clan has a clan champion, but I'm also a clan champion of a different clan.
Interesting.
Because
Yeah.
his clan was only made, what, 3
Yes.
game years ago?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then Peebles is announced,
Yep.
As not.
even if Peebles is not there.
Calcrick's whispers, "Guess what? You've been announced. You're here."
No, just the name is here.
And they announced Drazzle as just,
Unfortunately, unable to attend for the people.
and they announced Drazzle as just Drazzle.
Apologies.
And there's a big sigh going through the entire room as they announce him.
Yeah.
No titles for Peoples aside from the fact that she's not there.
Well,
Peebles
has
are-
been acknowledged in the King's Court.
Yes.
Okay.
People's the non-present.
And
Uh,
yeah, I like that. Just Drazzle.
Yeah.
I think Lonnie's gonna get to that stage at some point where it's just too long. There's no point in saying all her titles.
You started it. You started
Right.
it for yourself.
You did.
Yeah.
And
And
now that you're regretting it, I take great joy.
It's
and
really
Drazzle has
fun.
always gone with just Drazzle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did that from the start.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's
course.
why Calcrix is surprised she has titles, because she's
Yeah.
like, nah, I don't want titles.
Yeah, what you'll end up with, though, is the Lani.
Aside from being
That'll
Calcrix,
work.
White Dragon with the Jazz Wings, that's it.
Yeah.
And so by the time all the titles have been finished, they actually have a feast cooked and prepared for you.
Excellent.
Which you're sure they started when they started on Lani's titles.
Yeah.
And you find that you're the only non-dwarves here.
I'm not entirely surprised, but yeah, we sort of.
Besides
stand out
Cog. Cog would be the other non-dwarf
a
down
bit.
Yeah, who came
Um,
along?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
While we're at the table, do we pick up any interesting, different information about what's going on here in the court and things like that? Outside of what we've already learned.
There is a bunch of dwarves demanding that they ignore the surface world completely and withdraw all their forces to the dwarven capital. Completely abandon the world to the craziness.
I am going to present an argument that they should actually.
That's one of the
Yeah.
groups. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know that's them. Yeah.
One of them is suggesting that they not close their borders and venture out and be part of the world they live in.
Yes.
That seems to be the smallest faction.
Right. So at the moment they need the most help.
And the majority of the people seem to be basically wait and see what happens, and if it affects us, get involved. And that's the majority of the politics around that.
That's fair enough. The existence of the master is already affecting you and will affect you more.
From their perspective, it has no effect on them.
We're here.
Even if the elves are wiped out, it still has no effect on them.
We're
Yeah, the
here to
masters-
tell you that it's not just the elves.
Yeah.
It's gonna be you guys very soon.
Yep.
These guys are using gnomish soul forges, and they
Corrupted.
are.
No, just soul forges.
Yeah.
Pardon?
It's we want to maybe indicate corrupted gnomes soul
Corrupted,
forges,
yes.
so that we're not then making the gnomes that
Yeah.
they just made in accord with look bad.
Yeah. Yeah. So these guys are using corrupted. No, I won't say it like that. If I can, I'll say it. These guys are using corrupted technology from all the races: dwarven, gnome, elfish, human.
Yep.
You name a species, they are corrupting everything that species knows.
You hear a dwarf yell out in the back, Rakasta!
Pasta? Oh, the...
In response to you name a species.
Yeah.
Because dwarves are very good at hecklers.
So yes,
yeah.
them too.
Yeah.
Doppelgangers!
Them too.
And then you just get this for about 5 minutes.
Every
Not
species
5
can be-
minutes. As soon as the third one comes up, Calcrix will raise herself up to a full height and be very stern. And if they don't get it, she'll go, that wasn't what I meant.
You hear the sound of a clang as someone gets a cock in the head. Well, they can't, complain and say he doesn't exist at the same time.
Yeah.
True.
So they've had to admit to his existence so they can complain.
Yeah.
I wonder whether or not we should just start throwing cogs at all the doors, but I'm not going to say that out loud.
As you think that, you see cogs starting to get handed out.
No.
And a wink from the cog.
No, we don't want a cog fight.
What? See for yourself.
Look, if you guys want a cog fight, go ahead, but I am leaving the room.
I don't want to fight the door. I don't want to fight the doors. We are here to deliver a message.
Yes, that's it. That's it. We're here to use whatever influence we can.
Cog hands you another cog and says, "This is called message."
I don't wait. I'm just like, I'm gonna hold on to this one.
Um,
He's been delivering a muffin.
Calcrix will look to Drachnema and the pretty boy and go, "You guys are good at this stuff. I'm good at just looming behind you and, you know,
Using your magnanimous presence.
yeah, that's it. That works."
That stuff. True.
Let's not make Drazzle have to speak. He really doesn't like to have to do that.
So
And he'll get angry at you too if he has to.
Yeah.
I would say before, I'm pretty sure it was Llewell who made this negotiation with the king. Do you wish to present
I
findings to him?
will finish up what we're actually here for. Now that we've had food.
And a little bit of politics at the same time, because with dwarven politics, it'll take some years to come to a decision.
Yes.
Well, they sound like ants.
Yeah, these
They
guys
sound
are
like
hard
elves,
men.
too.
They have a lot in common.
Yes. Well, long-lived species.
Well, they live 5 times the length of humans. So.
Yeah. Yes. So long lifespans and a conservative mindset.
Mhm.
They take a long time to come to a decision. So yes, I will present what we went down there for, the information for that. I'll do a performance for that. See how well I presented it. There's my performing. And I will use my passive perception to read the audience as I'm doing this too.
Okay.
Yeah. Performance or persuasion?
I'll do it as a performance because there's a big bunch of people here,
Yeah.
and they will be swayed more with a
What do you guys
performance
think?
than a persuasion.
Yeah.
They are less likely to deal with persuading argument than a performance.
Yeah.
The elves, on the other hand, would love the persuasion.
Yeah. Yes. That's fair.
It's all about the tail for the dwarves.
True. 23.
23. Did you give yourself inspiration?
And this Calcrix looming
Mhm.
next to you. Or performing, or adding her charisma.
Yeah. I can
Whatever
also
you
do
want to call
guidance
it.
on myself too.
Mm-hmm.
I'll actually do the guidance. So that takes me to 26.
Okay, so you hear Llewell do a very entertaining rendition of the events leading up to coming here, including about how the elves are willing to help the war effort in spite of the fact that the dwarves have left.
Yes. Hi. We're showing you up, but I'm not saying that.
You know, just like, you know, the elves, they're helping the war effort. It's pretty,
Yeah.
pretty
You guys are
impressive.
staying home behind
Yeah.
closed doors.
Yeah, they're helping the war effort
Doing
despite
nada.
the fact there's a war between the surface elves and the shadow elves.
And that the forest is becoming overrun with the dark fae.
Yeah. And they're still helping against the master.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
much
also dropped
entertaining.
the name of the elven general,
Yes.
which gets you a lot of attention
Tree
in the
leaf,
room.
is he?
Yeah,
Is
a
it?
lawn tree leaf.
Yeah.
He is the equivalent of peasant
Tree life.
champion of the elves.
But it was also very well known amongst the dwarves.
He is. You
And
can
very well
actually
respected.
see the king's chamber does have his emblem up on the wall.
Ah. Yeah. This particular elf, he's a war leader of the elves, but he's wearing dwarven-made armour.
Well, dwarven and elven forged
Dwar-
armor.
Dwarven and elven forged armour that's been made as a harmonious whole.
Whereas they normally don't work together.
He's the official member of the Dwarven clans with a position that's recognised by the Elf Royal Court.
Yeah.
And that has not happened in 200 years. He cannot assist us on that session that we met him, but told us that when we come back around to them, he will be able to help us.
Much like Peoples, he was never there.
Yes.
Which
It
you-
was never
Does
there,
this mean that you're a person of great import hiding yourself away until the moment to act?
but obviously.
Calcrix has this idea in her head about you now, and that's what's going to stick. She's like, you are a person of great import. She must protect you now.
And it does go on to say how the gnomes have made the most of the settlement where the dwarves and shadow elves communicate by being the middle ground between the two.
No
Because-
one's good at that.
Well, basically, no one really wants to try to best a gnome in a trade agreement. Many have tried.
Oh no, Calcrix has been practicing.
Yeah, but
But you're being gnome trained instead of just
Yeah,
trying
that's
to do
true.
it otherwise.
She's also been known trained in legal matters as well.
So a lot of the piece has been kept there, but then going on about the demonic invasion and why it's occurring, and that some of the more extreme factions who deal in demon summoning are probably going to start trying to take over.
Can I just ask a question that I can't remember that you guys might? What race was Sirak?
Sirak,
Elf.
A blood elf,
What?
essentially.
Yeah, blood elf.
you thought blood elf, but quite easily just have been a shadow elf that
Yeah.
gotten corrupted.
Yeah, we just don't know.
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen.
I thought it was Shadow Elf.
Because most of the blood elves wouldn't be welcome amongst the shadow elves.
Yeah, so I think we knew she was for sure Shadow Elf. It was rumored, maybe potentially part Blood Elf or is Blood Elf, but
All
don't
learned
know.
from
This
them.
is just
Yeah.
rumors.
Yeah, I was just double checking.
Whereas all the blood elves worship Anzantiotl,
Yeah.
the corruptor god.
Yeah.
yeah.
It has a. There are a lot of interesting names in this setting, and so that's basically what your report would go on about, because they were the important points, as well as that with the help of Flag and Fist, you managed to get yourselves back to the dwarves.
Yeah.
Not going into details of all the agreements and everything that happened, because talking about magical transformations and playing as pixies would just be seen as would downgrade your performance so
More
greatly.
details are required.
Yeah, it's going to be more sort of, why are you embellishing it with rubbish?
And so you
Yeah.
talked up how the elves are putting it in. You've talked up how the gnomes are making a difference.
Yeah.
And you've also said about how you've come here to tell the dwarves that the war on the surface has caused a lot of problems with the Shadowlands,
Yeah.
and that maybe stopping the Master might actually help bring order to what's down below.
Yep.
Because
and also, as the Master's realm expands, it's a realm of death, which, if it comes over you, it doesn't matter whether you fight back or not, you are now bound in death.
and you also believe that him coming is what caused the imbalance in the first place.
Yeah.
And you can't fix it until he goes.
Swallow that.
Yeah.
Which means even the Dwarven nation will be taken over if he continues.
Yep.
Calcriss is kind of like, this is what I just said.
It is.
Yeah, but mine's prettier.
But
I know.
you're doing yours through food conversation, whereas he did his through a presentation to the king. Not everyone could hear
Star's
you.
right.
And so the king is quite grateful about your news. He does say he may be able to spare some of his forces. You'll have to figure out what he can, because if he spares too much, there won't be any home to come back to.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
no, that's fair.
Because the giants don't want to be reasoned with.
Yeah.
You could probably try to talk to the giants, but something has driven them mad.
And I can't cure all of
What
them.
makes them think that something's driven them mad in...
They can't communicate with the giants, and the giants are doing punitive strikes, not
Could
just
be the master has
attacking.
made them mad.
Or some other god has taking the reins.
Mm.
They attack with chaos and without mercy.
Yeah.
So which kind of giants are these?
Fire giants.
Yeah.
What was that, Jeremy?
Has Redrian, is one of the Redrian teams expected to go and talk to the Giants at this stage?
They've already had a discussion with the hill giants, not with the fire giants.
Oh, okay, so these are the fire giants on the hill giants.
That's why Carcrix was
the hill
asking.
giants are not that was part of the deal with Tyranny of Dragons. The hill giants are dealt with, so Tyranny is available. So, were we aware of the fire giants going mad at that point?
No, you were not. That was new news to you. You knew there was some war going on between the dwarves and the fire giants, not why it's happening.
Yeah. So Carcrix knows about the fire giants. She knows roughly where they are. She knew that there was gathering happening. She's passed that news on to you guys at intervals where appropriate. But she's
Yes,
not
that's
heard
but I'm pretty certain that there has been some investigation knowledge of it, so therefore between parties,
and
be
so
aware of it, but
I
the
guess
fire giants are a bit different.
sorry, Jeremy. I guess what I'll say is, as a character, you will know these things.
Absolutely.
You'll also know that the group that we're dealing with, the hill giants, is currently the ones helping get the primals to get the rhythm back into nature. So they don't have time right now to go and take care of the fire giants. So I don't know if we've got time.
Yeah. I was trying to remember whether or not there'd been a envoy sent to the. I knew an envoy had gone to the giants, but I couldn't remember whether it was specific giants or giants in general. So happy with that.
Yeah.
Just trying to see when we last looked at which envoys were going where. I think we've all been on these because when we started off this year, for us, just handling, we've still got to get back to Lani, get Lani back on her throne.
I was gonna say I was gonna say what Lani would do, whether or not the party would go, is she would have to go back to the Isle of Dread.
Yeah.
Dinosaur Island.
Our job is technically done here in the sense of we have gotten the dwarves on as allies. If we were going to do the giants, it would be after we got Lani to her throne, because if she doesn't get to her throne, then, well, as far as I know, the world ends.
Things will go
Are
badly.
we in the 8th or 9th month of the game?
You're in the 4th month of the game year. You've got only a few months left.
I jumped way ahead.
Right.
We've got to get you on your throne by summer, is what
Basically.
I've got here.
Yeah.
So
Which
We should do
is
that now.
a month and a half away.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we need to get to the Isle of
And
Dread.
yeah, it's going to take us a lot of that time to get there.
Yeah.
Lowell has been contacted by Dimitri, stating that a skyship has been booked by Redrian and should be coming your way.
Excellent. I will tell the others.
And
Thank you,
Carcrick
Dimitri.
spends a joyful 12-year-old dragon moment bouncing around in circles going, I'm gonna ride an airship.
And so you end up having a long technical discussion with Dimitri regarding various aspects you're both interested in.
Yeah.
Both characters get along perfectly and very good at telling the other they know exactly what they're talking about and they're always right.
And
Well,
because we
clearly.
both use extensive vocabulary and long words that mean exactly what we mean, 25 words in a message is easy.
That's
You can
right.
find a lot of information in 25 words, when they're the right words.
If you have a very large vocabulary, yes.
And you spend 4
What's-
hours making sure that 25 words is exactly what you want it to say.
That's right. What's Dimitri's intelligence?
It's his best stat, I believe.
25, 24, 26,
Wow.
like +7, +8 type stuff. So, Yes, Dimitri's
I will,
intelligent.
yeah, I will get there, but yeah, mine is very high.
I is dumb.
He's gotten bonuses from various things.
Yeah,
I'm all charisma and not a lot of
Yeah.
intelligence.
I'm all mental stats.
Okay, so they're happy to throw the celebration for you for the news and
Excellent.
stuff, though it's a rather muted celebration because it's talking about the grounds that they are currently in being overrun by demonic forces.
Right.
Yeah.
They're probably not super happy with that,
Even though their god is paying attention to them, he's not part of the war effort for either side.
Mm.
The god of the dwarves is a creator, not a fighter.
Yeah.
I'm like all for that.
And the main god of the gnomes is very much same, but he's more of a tinkerer than a creator.
Yeah.
He'll just make things a bit different, bit better, more sparkly, more noise, less impractical.
I like both of these gods'
Yeah.
worldviews. I'm good with those. More sparkly, better.
Well, he does have, as a god, his nickname is Glitterstone.
Speaking of sparkling, in the background while people are celebrating, I will pull out my jewel craft kit, pull out the little thing that I've been working on the last several games, put my little 3-headed crystal dragon as my inspiration.
And you find yourself surrounded by a bunch of jeweler dwarves giving you pointers, asking for pointers.
A long conversation will be shared by many.
Yeah.
Because craft person has just pulled out crafting, everyone else is basically completely ignored by the gem crafters as they decide it's time to have a crafting debate.
Which is
Calcrix will
fine.
swap.
No, you need to do a princess cut. What are you talking about? Animal cut is the best cut. Yeah.
Yep. And we sort of told you for which sort of stone, for which sort of cut you're looking for, and going into the correct things to use for polishing, based on the effect you're looking for, whether it's artificially created, magically created, or trying to use non-standard things if you don't have them available.
Calcrix will ask if any of them have a gemstone that is colour of the sea.
Okay, so you
wants
have
to trade for.
5 different gemstones put on the table, each showing the sea in different states. One of them actually looks to be like a stormy sort of sea.
Cool.
One looks like a calm sea. One looks like it is showing the sea having a whirlpool in it.
Fun.
Okay.
And another one, as you touch it, the sound of the sea can be heard.
Cool.
But it has the least looking sea appearance.
Okay, and that's 4? Or is
And
it
the 5th one just seems to roll around on the table on its own.
Okay, like a marble.
Okay.
It is not round.
It's not
But
round.
it's
It
rolling
rolls
around.
around on the table.
Yep.
Just
It's
kind
an
of slowly
active
You can
strays
hear it
back and
clicking
forth.
as it rolls over the table.
Clicking,
Yep, because its sides are flat.
but it's moving.
Yep.
Okay.
Hey,
Alright.
dwarves were crazy.
It's an
Um,
animate
and-
dice.
She will ask what trades are people looking for in return for these.
Well, depends on which one you're interested in.
Most interested in the one that makes the sound of the sea.
He's happy to trade for stories and maybe a similar stone from your travels, based on maybe sky or forests.
Calcrix will make you a deal. She will carve one of her finest emeralds.
Well, he's less worried about it being an emerald, but it's just something that gives the sound of the forest or sound of the air. Because you can tell he's actually blind,
Okay.
and he actually works with sound.
Would one of the cloud gemstones I got at the last
It can be crafted to do sound.
crafted to do sound?
Yes.
Yes.
And would she be able to do that in the time that she's here before she
Well,
leaves?
he could do it, and you could give him a stone that can do exactly what he's asked for.
Okay, I will trade him one of the cloud stones.
He is most happy. He's also the one who speaks Draconic the best.
Okay.
I'd very much like a little bit more information on the one that's rolling around the table.
Well, he says that one is a bit of matter from the plane of water.
Cool.
This is the other one that I'm greatly interested in.
Okay, so that person would he asks for
Where is my...
what's he like to ask for?
I know they may not want goods, but I've got a list of all the other bits.
He asks for a discarded scale.
Oh, wow. Mm.
That he can then fashion into various jewelry.
Calcrix will say that as this is a water-based stone that is something that is very dear to her, she's actually going to give him one of her very rare blue scales.
He is quite happy.
And do these dwarves have names at all?
They do not, but they can have names created.
Okay, so I gave a cloud one to a blind dwarf. I'm not going to give him an ironic name.
Or does anyone else want to give a name for a blind dwarf?
I'm happy for someone else to give him a name. I'm just writing.
What was it?
Dinek.
Dinek?
Dinek?
Dinek.
D-Y-D-I?
Dennik. Or EK, actually. Yeah, close enough.
We'll call him Dinek Lightfoot.
Yeah.
Sounds very halfling-like, but hey, if he can hear everything perfectly, he's probably going to step lightly so he can hear everything around him.
Yeah.
And the other gemstone, what was it called exactly?
It is a elemental stone.
Water elemental stone.
Yeah. Look, the other ones would be cool, but I'm not going to be greedy. And look, I'm in the world of dwarves. If you're going to trade for gems or look at gems, this is the place to do it.
Yeah.
And did we give a name to...
He calls himself Fathomer because he loves going into the depths.
Fair enough.
What did it...
Fathomer.
Fathomer.
Yeah.
He also looks to be one of the more magically active dwarves, which is a rarity.
As
Most of them
both...
just hit stuff.
It's also they have resistance to a lot of magic, so
Yeah.
casting magic is rare.
As both of them have traded with her, and as Dinek has said that he would also be interested in stories, Calcrix says that if they wish to, she could put them on her pen list.
They're more than happy to because they do love their stories.
And she'll send them regular letters with tales of her journeys, and they work their way into her journal and her stories.
Fathomer pulls out a big book
Mm-hmm.
and hands it across to Calcrix.
The whole book
Yeah.
to read.
Well, it says it's one of his journals.
Oh wow! Would he like it back, and how soon?
Well, it is a copy.
Okay.
He does have the original carved in stone.
Calcrix will reach into her bag of holding and pull out any one of Drazel's books that comes to hand and pass it over and go, "This is written by Dr. Azam. He is a fantastic writer. If you like this book, let me know, and I'll get a hold of copies of his other books for you."
He's more than happy.
Oh, this copy's signed as well, so you'll appreciate that. You don't need to give it back. I have one. Kind of a fan.
He is quite...
I'm glad you used Dr. Azel there. He may not necessarily immediately recognise Drazel.
Yes.
It was how I introduced him to the party at one stage.
Yeah.
Well, I realise that.
That's the name on his book.
Yeah, I know.
But the point being the fact that if it were written by Draggle, that wouldn't be quite so well received in this area right at this stage.
Yes.
That's why he has alternates of spellings of his name.
Indeed.
These are dwarves. They just started naming races earlier.
Yes.
Okay, so yes.
Jack Diller would also like to try and have a bit of a chat with Cog.
He's more than happy to sit down with you.
Encourage the idea of determining whether the Soul Forged are likely to have weaknesses or vulnerabilities,
Yeah.
and also confirm to him that yes, dwarven assistance is not the only thing required upon the battlefield to force the master. If
Yes.
you have colleagues and relations who have understanding of the machines that the master is using, that would be advantageous.
Well, he says the big thing about that is that machines powered by the Nomi Soulforge can act as a hive mind
Oh.
and can connect to other Soulforge items from other communities.
Right.
Well, in which case then, he's probably need to inform and ensure that the novice community are aware that, well, possibly their machines may become controlled by another at any time.
Why most of
Considering the
them
number of soul boards that the master has available.
he says it's why most of them moved out of Darrakan and they haven't been back for 2 years.
Yeah, because they're not silly.
He also says the best way to shut one down is to cast banishment on the soul inside. No soul, no power.
Yeah.
Of course, getting it to actually reach the soul can be problematic because the protections that create the golems can render that aspect impossible.
Yeah.
Not mention the fact that when you're dealing with hundreds of the machines, that is not an easy thing to cast.
I was going to say, this is the wrong time to do the maths and go 1, 2, maybe Taith? Is it Taith?
Yeah.
Teth. I'm going to get there.
He does also say that breaking the crystals while may stop the creature will also stop the soul from being able to pass on.
Right.
So it will consume the soul in the destruction of the crystal.
So banishment is preferable.
Is the hive mind, does it likely to have a queen?
It does. It is the great machine that controls the community.
Right.
It's why the priests of the great machine are revered above everyone else, because they're what provide protection and knowledge to the community.
Yeah.
If you get rid of the priests and use it for something else, then it can become dark and twisted very quickly. Because the priests provide the sanity that keeps the machine sane.
Right.
Taking other people's life forces is not a nice act, he says.
No.
It's seen as duty or punishment, never taken for anything else.
You're giving me all this
At least in the
really
novice
information,
community.
and I can't write because my hands are spasming.
And what was that, Jeremy?
Can I say, at least in the novice community, for those who follow the God, whichever God to talk about, obviously, Jack Diller will be able to quite on a religious level, those sorts of aspects. But then, yes, Grace and confirm that, hey, the master is apparently not following those rules.
He would most likely have driven the machine insane, or connected it to a different god who does not care.
Yeah.
Like Anzantiotl, he says, is probably the one that the gnomes most fear to get hold of a great machine.
Yeah.
which is what they refer to the Soul Forge as.
Is this where Eve hands out a cookie to Cole?
Yes.
Cog is happy to eat the cookie,
That's good.
and then provide a bell to Eve.
The cookies,
He does recognize Eve as Darkfang.
yes, but the cookies are the only, if Calcrix is around, but I realise she possibly isn't, but if Calcrix is close enough or happens to be by while the cookie eating is happening, she'll reassure Cog that the cookie only obligates you not to serve ex ante offal, and that is why Eep is handing out the cookies whenever Eep hears ex ante offal's name.
His response in that would be he always gives deference where deference is due.
That's fair enough. It's a good answer for Calcrix.
Okay, so did Drachnemy wish to ask anything more of the tech priest, because you've not had access to one before?
Well, it's the sort of thing that there's probably stuff that he would think about asking. However, he's also, if you're next to me, I'm just tossing my head thinking, yeah, I just can't talk to the dwarven royalty about the fact that, hey, Atruaghin are arming themselves with metal, they might need to come up your weapons and things like that, but hey, Jack never hasn't quite got that far himself yet, so.
Did anyone else want to talk to the gnome tech priest?
No.
Does Peebles have anything that's talking about? Peebles is.
You can still like ask questions.
She's not here.
So occasionally the tech priest does hand people's drinks, and the drinks disappear. Oh, he can hand you cogs as well. He gives you a whole bag of them.
This is gonna be Peebles be bucket.
So, Dracula will pass on if he hasn't yet been informed that his fellow gnomes stranded in Alphasia will hopefully be returned soon.
Yes, he has had some discussion with the tech priests of the flying city of Sararain, he says. They will hopefully get it up and running soon. The human seems to know far more about their technology than they do.
Okay.
This human isn't Dimitri. Is it?
Redring.
Redring.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
good. That's fine.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, Dimitri is ready to support.
Of course, never the other way.
Redring.
No.
Dimitri's. That's all good.
Okay, so the paladin has been Teeth has been surrounded by a bunch of dwarven paladins, all swapping religious jokes. Normally at the expense of elves,
Exactly.
occasionally at the expense of gnomes who don't exist, and really at the So you do notice every time one of them get hit by a cog, they seem to talk a lot clearer.
So
Well,
Peebles-
each cog is actually adding guidance to whoever it hits.
I was going to say.
Oh, right.
Like he
Peebles
is literally
helping the
making them
discussion by
smarter.
throwing cogs.
That's very sad. Also, I want some.
Hey, Cog is a priest after all.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm getting more and more, in fact, if not fully, in support of this cog fight.
See, this is why Lonnie's happy that she has her message, and she's keeping that as like a throwing star that she's going to use sometime.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's made a lot of people pay attention to what needs to be done.
Exactly.
And he's used it on the battlefield many a time to let people actually see what's happening.
Yeah.
I wonder what a dragon-sized cog would do.
Like a very
Cause an
loud-
opening in the battlefield.
Yes. Also
But
make a very
especially if I
loud
cast something on it.
Yes, so
Potentially
Teth
frightening.
is getting a lot of attention from the paladins because, hey, most paladins band together when there's a chance because everyone else be crazy.
Mm.
Even if you have completely different views on religion.
Yeah. What are their oaths?
Most of their oaths are all aligned with protection and ancestry, because families are important, as is the line of dwarves. Of course, the dwarves who existed previously are not really dwarves,
Right.
because they're not related genetically at all.
Cog hits paladin dwarven head.
Well, they technically can't have kids together because
No.
they're that different a species of dwarves. And they're just across the border in the northern reaches,
Right.
and known as the Mad Dwarves. So that's where most of their jokes go.
Oh dear.
So when you say oaths of protection and ancestry, is that things like I will protect X?
Most of their magic is designed to protect people or protect the ancestral lines.
Okay, nice.
So they get benefits from honouring their ancestors and benefits from honouring their communities.
So instead of by the power of Grayskull, let's say in honour of my ancestors.
Pretty much.
Yeah, okay.
They may quote their entire family lineage to you as they're beating you up.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the power of great granddad.
So in honour of grandfather, bang.
Or
Grandmother, bang.
It would be father, mother, grandfather, grandmother, and then other grandfather, other grandmother, and just continue out as I go.
I feel like they should be wielding. I want to see this as a paladin of a sea, and I want them to do this with a big fish.
Well, it could be with a dagger, and each name is a dagger strike.
I don't know, fish
Yeah.
slapping just
Death
seems
by
to
1,000
make me
cuts
giggle.
via dwarven method,
Yeah. Painful.
both to your ears and to your body.
Mm.
But yes, that's the main things that they follow is belief in their family lines and belief in their people.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Do these dwarves like smoke? Like they have
Of
any,
course
like,
they smoke.
buckwheat on them?
They
No?
smoke, they drink, they curse,
Like, yeah. Excellent.
they cheat.
Can I like make some new blends with their pipeweed? Like use my herbalism kit. To,
They pull out various weeds from around the nation, and some from bordering nations where they have gone on travels before they were called back. As you see, probably about 50 different types of herbs put on the table.
Calprix,
No,
even though it's
fuck
got
them.
no relation
Oh,
to
yeah.
it whatsoever, sees this exactly as trading coffee beans
Yeah.
It is literally the same as trading coffee beans.
and getting different teas.
And so they basically talk to you about what sort of flavour you want to
This
get
is
out of it, how you want the smoke to look, and whether you want the ability to manipulate it or not.
Yeah. What sort of side effects you want?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
more
That's
smoke,
important.
the better.
Right.
I want to make big rings. I want to be able to make little dragons fly through the rings.
And so you find yourself with a blend of various stuff, including one that looks more like mushroom than normal weed. That
I've
they
got a
said,
tea to go with that. Also from the dwarves.
and this
Oh,
one they said
yeah.
came from the Worm's Teeth Mountains, which is the Dragon Kingdom.
I wouldn't mind smoking some of that.
Sweet. We just passed around some pipes.
Peoples will be there,
So
but he's not
Pass
there.
around a bomb.
And so basically a lot of the paladins are definitely into pastimes of relaxation because they're always on high alert, and
Yeah.
when they're taking their breaks, they take their breaks. And they also introduce you to the 12 favourite dwarven brews,
Oh, nice.
each of them having various states of
There's
intoxication.
12 types of
Right.
coffee?
Well, that's
Just here.
and that's the ones that they recommend. There are more than that, but these ones are definitely guaranteed to
Yeah.
help that buzz come in a lot quicker.
If they hand Calprix one of these brews, she's gonna sip it and go, "This does not taste like coffee."
And they do recommend keeping it away from mundanes because most humans get passed out after just breathing it in.
Oh
Yeah.
god,
That
that would
one,
be funny.
keep that away from open flame.
I was going to take all of them and just pass them around. every sample I can get, passing around to everyone in the party.
Lonnie has now had her experience with Dwarven now. She knows that there's really only one that she can handle, and even then, it's maybe like a small drink. After that, not gonna happen.
Okay, you do notice that everything you hand to Lani, Drazzle sort of waves his hand over.
Yeah.
And Dracnoma does not eat or drink.
Because Lonnie sees it as a challenge.
And it all tastes like water. He keeps handing you water.
Yeah.
Jack is quite happy to smoke.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You smoke, you don't drink the brew though.
No, because he doesn't need to consume food.
But he does love his smoking.
Yeah.
And as he's a shaman, he's got access to trippy stuff. Some of it has been known to let you speak to God.
Mm-hmm.
Well, isn't
Not
that
always
what-
the God you want to speak to,
But,
and sometimes more than you want.
Well, there's also an easier way to speak to God.
Just
You
talk to
just
them.
say, "Oh God damn it, God damn it." Any of these
and it
references
usually gets
to God, and you will find yourself talking to a God.
And some of them will ask why you've cursed their name in vain. Because they are petty and like to pick on you. So yes, you do manage to find yourself with access to various blends that will surprise you, considering there's even a few halfling blends in there.
So you've passed that out to everyone who will accept that?
Yeah, including the pipe. Like, yeah.
And how about Peebles?
What, taking the vibe?
Well, then you've got access to a whole bunch of foods, practical jokes, dwarves who can't see you.
this is probably the safest that Peoples has felt in who knows how long.
And even if you bump into a dwarf, there's most likely they're going to just agree with you that you don't exist, while handing you food to go away.
I do like some of these practical jokes. 'Cause being not here, practical jokes are a lot of fun.
You're open to a lot of
Yeah.
possibilities.
Yeah, they're very easy.
And as these are very stoic dwarfs, of course, making fun of them is a gnomish pastime.
And lots of fun.
I was going to say I want to hear what those practical jokes are eventually.
So what can people think of to do?
You put her on the spot.
It's the hardest part of D&D.
It's like,
You can think of something for later.
If you can imagine something, it can happen.
Practical joke though.
Sort of
What counts as a
popping
practical
out.
joke?
Well, Cog literally throws cogs that make people think better into people's heads. So, as much as they want to complain about it, he's helping them.
So he throws cogs to make them smile.
Yep.
think better. Bah!
I wish this
Yeah,
were.
think fast. Oh, too slow.
That completely suits his personality, and he's tormenting and helping them at the same time.
Yeah.
I was going to say, does this mean you could do? Well, someone was mentioning swapping all the drinks and things around.
Yeah, I was thinking Peoples would be very good at slipping things into people's drinks and things,
Well, you did hear about all these different pipe weeds that have interesting properties if ingested or drank.
You said there were mushrooms, right? You could
Yeah.
put them in some tea.
I was going to say, mushrooms.
The only
the
downside is
pipe that's going
dwarves
around.
have some of the best constitutions in the world, and a lot of poisons just don't work on them. So things that they ingest generally don't infect them as much. That's the only downside to messing with their drinks and food, which is why they don't get drunk very often.
But
On the other
it
hand,
will
if you
make
get
the party interesting.
Yes. On the other hand, a dwarven made poison will work and will totally and utterly destroy anybody else.
Yep. That's why Droz is not very well with
Yes. I can sort of see you as a rogue with alchemy.
That
And
should
possibly-
actually be a lot of fun.
And possibly a few other skills.
Yeah.
Because there's some.
So,
You can
how
pick
will
up
the
skills
dwarves in this case
as part
react
of
to the
downtime.
truth serum?
So,
Most of them just
Nice.
continue on as if you haven't noticed,
Mm.
because for them, they generally tell people the blunt truth as it is, as they see it. So a truth serum on them is kind of wasted.
Yeah.
What kind of furniture do they have here? Do they have like log
Really
benches
solid.
that they're
Log
sitting on?
benches, all carved out of stone,
Mm.
Okay,
with
carved
various-
out of stone,
Yeah.
are they?
Mm.
Damn.
I'm
all their
guessing they're
furniture's stone.
angular modular
Yeah, no,
furniture.
I was thinking we could loosen like a few,
Mm.
a few things holding the benches together and have a bunch of dwarves fall on their butts.
So you sort of realize after giving them truth-inducing stuff that it doesn't quite work on them as much.
Mm.
I think we might have to go for more physical practical.
Yeah, I'm
Not
thinking
beating
that
them with a
dwarves
stick.
are very, very easy to, very keen to fight each other. So,
Mhm.
the
Ooh.
old,
Throw something. at
throwing
one.
something, it was hidden.
He threw something. At one.
Well, you can throw stuff from one plate of a dwarf onto
Who said
another
that?
dwarf.
Not me.
Mm.
Yeah,
Food
yeah,
fight.
Inducing a food fight may actually be hilarious.
yeah.
Mm.
Would your character like to try that?
Yes.
Okay, so you get to roll a d20 to see how successful you are. And we'll add 8 to this roll.
What did you say?
We'll add 8 to the roll.
So that would be 25.
Okay, so not long into all your discussions of pipeweed, of gem crafting, of talking about the great machine, a food fight breaks out down one of the main tables. The king himself is included in the food fight.
Tomatoes. splat in the
Sitting
face.
next to the king is the forge master, who's just looking there as if nothing's happening. No matter how much food hits him, he just acts as if it's not there.
Of course.
You just see stuff sliding down his face, and he just continue on as if nothing's happening.
Can we see how far he'll go? Like, what his point will be?
He's probably the most stoic dwarf you'll ever meet.
Besides,
If he breaks, he will kill the person who breaks him.
Yes.
That
you
sounds
probably
He
have to-
he has no balance between the two.
it
yes,
sounds
you
like
probably
such a
have to
gag
make him
from
bleed.
like Naked
to make
Gun
that
or
work.
something like that. One of those movies.
You do know he's the most honoured person in all of Rockhome. And the fact that people are doing a food fight, including him, he's okay to be included. He just can't be seen as participating.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's really funny.
Even
They
if
could-
he's enjoying it.
If he throws food back, then most people will lynch the person he throws it at.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Him showing disrespect to anyone is kicked out of the community.
I was thinking
'Cause that's him
Calcrix
targeting
could stand
somebody.
behind him and just throw food back and pretend that it's him. Except, it would be
Why?
foiled by her dragon-like arms.
Or it's just very obviously Calcrix.
And I'm sure most of the dwarves pretend it's the guy throwing them at that stage, in the sense of he's participating but not really throwing it. So yes, they'll accept the deception on the grounds of they don't want to throw it at the dragon.
That's fair.
This suits her entirely. I don't know how much of her face can hide behind a dwarf in a chair, but, I'm fairly sure to miss most of her face.
Right,
Enough so
you'd-
that
you'd-
she can still see when she's aiming.
You'd hide your face, but the rest of you is entirely visible.
Yeah, she's gonna get hit in the food fight. Everybody knows this.
That too.
Except most of them are accurate enough to hit the forge master.
That's fine. I'm happy to throw
Because
back on his behalf.
They're at the high table.
But
Because hitting the forge master.
the question is can she get away with pretending that she's got his arms?
I'm not sure that'll work.
You touch him, he sort of looks up at you.
She won't touch him. She just wants to see if she's big enough to throw from either side
Yes, you can throw from either side.
without actually touching him, but look like she's him.
Though occasionally he does pick the food you're about to throw and eat it.
Ah, well, that's fine.
Yes. Also note,
She-
your arms are enormous and white.
She won't disrespect the forge master in any manner, but she will definitely have fun with this because she has had dragon smoke.
So from the gnome's perspective, he's probably the equivalent to the cog priest, as all the dwarves would basically follow his direction.
I'm guessing all the sorry.
The only person who could technically overrule him would be the king, and then the king might get challenged.
Yeah. So he is the
So,
most revered.
from the dwarven perspective, he stays out of all conflict in the dwarven thing. And he generally backs the king in most things. When he doesn't, they also look at the king and going, has he done something wrong?
I was going to say, I'm guessing they forgot all the bad news because the paladin got them high, and then the gnome started a food fight.
Well, this is their way they relax.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So they've got no problem with all of that.
No.
Fair enough.
And the person who's not there gets a lot of praise. But of course, he's not there, so she's not there, so they can't actually, do anything.
Yeah.
It all started by nobody knows who.
By somebody who wasn't there.
And even if they weren't there, they wouldn't believe they existed.
Exactly.
That's actually true.
So we might finish the session off with the news that a skyship has arrived.
Okay.
And I will put it onto end credits unless someone wants to add something before we finish.
No?
No, not at the
I think
moment.
it was a good, happy thing to end on before we end up going to...
A break for a short time.